Hello, hello,
Everyone.
hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 welcome to a very special edition of or Why I Write show. My name is Totlin Oliver, and we have our special online book showcase. You've been seeing me talk about it. It's coming up to that time of year again when we want to grab special gifts for our special someones. And despite the view of the internet and all the ways that the internet is taking up our attention and time, we are not getting the opportunity to read as often as possible. But I am definitely changing that because I make sure that I section out time so that I can actually read hard copy books. There is something, I love the tactile nature of reading hard copy books. So, since we've been doing Why I Write for the last, since October 2021, we have spoken to well over 100 um, writers and authors and creatives. I love everything creative because that just fuels my soul. And since starting this podcast, what I have discovered is that our authors are many and varied. Everybody has very special, unique ways of getting their written work done, of getting their written work published, of performing their written work, of sharing out to everyone. I'm so glad that I have Why I Write to share because had I not had this platform, I would not have met so many extremely talented writers, authors, performers all across the world. I just would not have. So, guess what? We absolutely love when we get the opportunity to meet together with authors and really get to know them, get to know their work. Otherwise, it's just a small circle of people. So, this way, today, my hope and my expectation is that you'll be inspired if you haven't written a book yet. And if you have written a book, you'll be inspired to get out there and talk about your book. I know we tend to leave the talking to performers and announcers and actors and authors. A lot of times we are introverted, so we don't want to get out there and talk. But let's enjoy each other's gifts that we bring to the world. So, right off the bat, we're going to start off by introducing all of the authors on our bookcase. Tonight, well, it's not night, it's night somewhere in the world. We're going to introduce our writers so that you get an opportunity to know who they are. We have a scheduled program. So you stick with us for the next couple of hours and a half, and I guarantee you it will be worth your time. So let me start off first with um, our writer, Sylvia Gilfillion. I know her as Sylvia something else, but anyway, it's Sylvia Gilfillion. Hi, Sylvia. Welcome. How you doing today?
Well, thanks. How about you?
I am great. And where are you calling in from? Where are you located today?
I am calling in from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Oh boy, it had to be Bethlehem, right? You couldn't live anywhere else but Bethlehem, the noted place of Christ. No, not in the United States, folks. But yes, that is awesome. Welcome, Sylvia. Good to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Next up, let's introduce to you another one of our writers, Annette White. Hi, Annette. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where are
Hi,
you?
Totlin. How are
Good to
you? I
see
am
you.
in New Rochelle, New York.
All right, New Rochelle, New York, in the house today. So glad to have you. Ooh, we can't wait. Annette is gonna be talking to us about her new work, and we're gonna get more into that in just a moment. Next up, we welcome Novlette. Hi, Novlette. How are you doing today?
Hi, hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me. All the way here in Florida, Pembroke Pines, and it's my pleasure being here with you guys today.
This is awesome. So that is what, Kingston 21, right? Or so they say. All right, thank you. So glad to have you here with us, Novlet.
Thank
Next
you.
up, Is Karen on? Hi, Karen.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
We are great. I am not seeing Karen's face, just a beautiful screen of a mountain. Where are we, Karen?
I'm calling from North Carolina,
All right, we're there.
a tiny remote village called Roanoke Rapids.
Oh, I know Roanoke Rapids. Is that east? I don't remember exactly where it's located in North Carolina. Is there a reason we're not seeing your face, Karen?
It may be some technical difficulties that I may have to sort out, but
Yes.
I will certainly do that.
All right, awesome. Well, we're looking forward to meeting you. I too am in North Carolina. So, I have to visit you soon enough, not
That
having
would be
been here.
that would be an absolute honor.
Okay, awesome. You see, this is why we love this coming together. We love this coming together because this is how we get to meet writers in our midst that maybe previously we would not have known about. So, last but certainly by no means least, is our very special guest. She's also an author, but she also midwives other writers into reality, have her work come into their work come into reality. And we're speaking about none other than an all-rounder, multifaceted, eclectic, artistic woman who she is. She has spent years teaching both at the high school level, the pre-K through 12 and university level. She is an experienced educator, an experienced drama orator, and an organizer of festival events and a writer. And she ushers or authors into the experience of writing their work to a place of satisfaction and bringing them to the table where they get their work published. Everyone, please help me welcome to our screens and to our Why I Write online book showcase, Andrene Bonner. Yay!
Andrene.
Thank you.
Andrene, how are you doing today?
Oh, Tatlin, I am absolutely wonderful. Just a quick correction. I haven't really taught at the university level. I have prepared students at the advanced level for university. So
Well,
that's
same difference.
correct.
Same difference.
Same difference.
And every
Yes,
one of
I'm
us.
an AP literature teacher.
Wow, that is amazing because you see, we have to have the right set of educators who prepare us for the next level. And you just stay right where you are and continue to encourage persons. Now, you're currently retired, Andrene. What are you now doing with your retirement?
I am working harder than I worked before. The only thing is that I'm not, on the New York City subway or Metro North, hustling and on the highways. But I'm here working all the time. I treat my business as I would treat anybody else's business. So I have the same regular routine. So I mean, I come to work a little after 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a little
Right?
different now. Yes, I'll probably start in the middle of the day, but
Mhm.
I do have my rituals and I still get to work. And then, of course, I work really, really late at night, so yeah.
That is what we do. That's what we do. Does your
Mhm.
brain ever turn off, Andrene?
No, I'm really working on meditation now. I'm learning to meditate because it's a whole lot of chattering going on in my brain. The muses are constantly fighting for my
Mhm.
attention, and then I just can't turn it off. But I'm
Mhm.
working on meditations and I'm being taught right now how to
Mhm.
really shut it down. And I don't get the feeling that in meditation it ever really shuts down. I have no idea, but I'm working on it.
You know what? I think that as time goes on, I don't like to say as we age, we're all aging. Even the baby who was born 2 minutes ago, we're all aging. But the longer we live and the more life unfolds in front of us, I really do find that we have the business of reorienting so much of what we've known before, just to continue to live well and to live satisfactorily and in a healthy, normal, as normal can get, exciting way. Even if excitement means, like for me, I love coming home in the evenings now that it gets dark early. I love coming home in the evenings, getting something warm in my belly and becoming really warm and snuggling up and reading a book or just leafing through a magazine. I love doing that. So that works completely for me. So yes, we have to lean into new ways of being. One of your new way of being, as I've said in all my promos about our online book showcase, is that you're in the position of helping authors now after having written how many books, Andrene? Both scholastic and novelectic. I just made up that word.
I think I'm perhaps up to maybe book number 16 maybe now.
Wow.
However, you may access about maybe 10 of them because I have some non-fiction works that are not necessarily out there. I just share those at conferences.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
yes, pretty
Okay,
much. But
cool.
I keep writing. I keep writing every day. It's a discipline.
Mm-hmm,
And but now that I've turned my attention to other people,
mm-hmm,
um, I started out as a self-publisher
mm-hmm,
because I really wanted to have my own voice, my nation language. I really wanted to just talk the way I want to talk in my books.
mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm.
I started out there, and then I moved into independent publishing only very recently, where I am helping others. And of course, the hybrid publishing styles that I also offering those kinds of services to
What are hybrid publishing styles?
hybrid. Let me just, would you like me to just go through
Please
my
be
deck, and
our
if you can
guest. We want
see,
that.
yes, and then so that everybody can see what I am doing.
Mm. This is a whole classroom or online
Yes, it is.
booking.
It is. It
So you
is. It
do
is.
have
It is.
permission to share your screen.
I have
So,
sharing privileges. Okay,
yes,
so I'm
indeed.
just going to share. I'm going to share my deck with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, I'm going to share that. Okay, I'm sharing. Are you able to see my deck?
Well, it says you have started to share your screen. Yes, indeed.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, everybody. This is very exciting for me. Thank you so much for inviting me, Tatlin, and I'm happy to see everybody here. So my organization is called Sisal Publishing Corporation, where
Mhm,
imagination finds its voice. And I'm just going to go through just a few slides because in the interest of time,
mhm.
so you'll get an idea of what I'm about.
So we want to go to our
So
slideshow so we can see the screen much bigger. So click on our slideshow at the top.
you
And
want me to do F5, right? Hold on. Tell me again.
all right,
How do
go
I
to
do that?
okay, you see where you have file to the left? Yeah,
File to the left, yeah.
yeah. Go all across the screen to slideshow. Across. No,
Slideshows.
no, you're already in slides. Go back to file
File.
and then just keep your arrow right there. Go back, click on that. All right. I just want you to slide your cursor to the right. You see home, insert.
Yes.
Don't click on anything. You see draw, you see design, continue right. You see transitions and
Yes, please. I see slideshow.
so click right there and voila. We're gonna click on from current slide. So go back under file. Go back. Go down.
Okay.
And you want to do it from the
And say
beginning
from beginning,
or
from
current
current
slide?
slide.
Slide. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So yes,
Oh,
this
Lord,
is
it
a
looked
learning
pretty.
experience, right?
So
So we just
everybody see how that works, right?
yes, right.
Okay.
So in the event you have never done a slideshow presentation on Zoom before, now you know.
I usually just press F5 and it usually
Okay.
does that. But F5 is now light and all kind of fancy things going on. Anyhow,
Okay.
so
Awesome.
I will share with you my vision, my evolution, which I kind of touched on a while ago, my ecosystem, my
Right.
publishing model, and my servicing path. And I want to share 10 secrets to shape, write, and publish your book. I think that is kind of what Tocklin wanted me to do at some level here. And so my mission is Lifestyle Publishing empowers authors to bring meaningful stories into the world, providing high quality editorial production and creative support rooted in cultural excellence, professional integrity, and artistic innovation. So, as I shared earlier, my evolution is from self-publisher, just wanting to write for myself. Not so much, how should I put it now? To be able to manage my time well, because I was a full-time teacher and I wanted to be able to just work at my own pace. My sanctuary was the New York City subway with all of the noise and the chaos and everything, the
Wow.
smells, everything clashing, and sometimes even the subway car hoping that it can be a character in my novel.
Wow.
So I had that to deal with. I had to learn to close out the noise and really find sanctuary. And that was my time to write when I was commuting a lot. And I wrote several books on the subway, New York City subway. And then I became an independent publisher where I was, just wanting to experience the opportunity of sharing with others. And then, of course, hybrid publishing. So that's 16 years of publishing
Mm.
and serving author hopefuls, new authors, and seasons rise. So here's my model: self-publishing, IP, and HP. So with self-publishing, you asked earlier, the author, we are the publisher, you retain your full creative and financial control, and you hire your own editors and your designers and your production partners, and you manage your things all on your own. Then as an independent publisher, like what you call them small publishing, and sometimes they're mid-sized companies, they are a major corporate publishing house, but fully manages the publishing process. They offer editorial services, which I do, design, production, and distribution on behalf of the author. Now, the hybrid is another fancy one that they're using right now. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, we're hybrid publishers. It's shared investment model where the author contributes to the production costs and 𝐶𝑖 Publishing Corporation provides expert editorial design, marketing, guidance, distribution support, combining the best of self-publishing and independent publishing at the same time. Now, one of the things that is so wonderful about the people that I have now, I'm now helping, the writers that I'm now helping, the hybrid model is really, really helpful to some of them, because they can pay for what they can pay for, and I provide the connections. I connect them with like a Totlin Oliver, or I connect them with an Alice James who is a coach and who also is into video production. And so they can get their videos produced, or their book, how should I call them? Their book
Yeah.
trailers. They can get their book trailers done. So the hybrid publishing model is good. Also, you can go out and seek your own money.
Right.
A
Wow.
lot of people are supporting writers. I've had writers now, right now, two of the writers that I've worked with so far have had people sponsoring them. So don't be
Mm.
afraid to pass the hat, my darlings. Please don't be afraid.
I love
It's
that.
out
I
there.
love that because
People
we're not
want to
into the
partner with,
I love that because we're not
yeah,
into the what you call it now? Struggling artist business. If doctors make money with
no,
their skill and
no.
talent, why not writers?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yes. So that's really wonderful. So my ecosystem looks like this, specialized editors, podcasters like Totlin Oliver, who you can engage, and I'll share her with the writers as well, and the publicists and the marketing strategists, the graphic designers. I have some wonderful graphic designers that I've worked with over the years, and of course I've found a fabulous young man that I've been working with on the last 5 titles. And he is just wonderful. And he's out of Jamaica. So I'll share him with you as well. And then, of course, we have web designers that I can turn you on to. There's a fabulous web designer. He is all the way in Pakistan, but he's absolutely loves us. And I will be turning you on to him as well. He can pull your web together. Have photographers. There's a fabulous young lady who lives in New York, and she just did the photography. I had her dad, who I'm working on his book with him, and she does the photography, and she's a professional photographer. I'll turn her on to my clients as well. And of
Right.
course, I share the book trailer producers and the social media creators. So that is kind of like my ecosystem. I am a resource person. I have tentacles
Mm.
all over the place. Right now I'm raising funds for a little girl in the hospital. She's 28 years old in Jamaica, who is struggling with her breathing, and she needs an oxygen tank. Those are the tentacles I pull. I have. I have all my
Mm.
contacts. I find them and I share them with my clients. So my service path,
Mm.
writing workshops. The English teacher in me can't help herself. Yes.
Right.
So one of my clients came to me, and he had so many gaps in his writing.
Hmm.
And I said, before I publish you or I get into a contract with you, it is important that we do a little writing workshop together.
Hmm.
And he was so humble. I remember one weekend he said to me, "Can you give me 2 hours on Saturday and 2 hours on Sunday?" And I don't come cheap.
Hmm.
So 4 sessions, one weekend. Okay. So I help writers just get ready to even write. Yes. So I help them strengthen the craft, build writing confidence, and support their manuscript completion and tools for revision and clarity. Uh, then my service path two is my production services. These are services you're going to need. You're going to need somebody to edit for you and do a
Hmm.
little bit of evaluation. You get your ISBN, help you to procure your ISBN. Again, a lot of you are doing that already for yourself. I help with copyright registration, your book layout, your cover design, your distribution on the different platforms. There's the KDPs and the Ingram Sparks, which are the popular ones. Ingram Sparks pretty much kind of gets you into the libraries and the
Hmm.
schools. Schools order from them, and then a lot of them they're getting competition now, so pay attention to the competition. That's the kind of thing I can share with you. There's a lot of competition because Amazon is controlling the market, and writers are saying, no, 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 no. We can't be giving away all of our royalties to you. So they're going to other companies to help them. Those are things I can share with anybody who comes into my orbit. And then the
Awesome.
last service path 3, which is the hybrid.
Hmm.
You get the services for the paths 1 and 2, and you get a lot more assistance with marketing. You get brand consultation, strategy, promotion. So let me share with you very quickly the books that I have been working on. If I'm going too fast, stop me.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes. So we're looking at your hyperlink for your publishing company, which is
Excellent.
𝐷𝐼selpublishing.com.
𝐷𝐼selpublishing.com. Okay, so these are the novels I've worked on. These are my 2 novels here. And this is
Hmm.
my a novel that I just worked on. It's a letter writing novel. Okay.
Well,
And
that screen is not showing right now. So you'd have
It's
to
not
share
showing?
that
Okay, I'm
screen.
gonna stop.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna share again so you can see it. Are you seeing it better?
let's see. It's just taking a few moments to show up. Perfect. We're now seeing it.
All right. So these two novels here, the what I call my Liberty Garden series, they were set in Jamaica. And it chronicles the life of a young boy who was abandoned in Jamaica by his white American father and his Afro-Jamaican mother, kind of kick him out and send him go live Olympic Gardens. And of course, at that time, it was a wonderful neighborhood, but then eventually got into to become an emerging garrison. And he, in Long Walk to Cherry Gardens, he's on both on a metaphoric and a physical journey trying to find his way to his Valhalla, you know. A long walk to Cherry Gardens, say, I move from Olympic, where I'm moving on up to the east side, right? This book here, I only did production on this book. This book here. And when you click it on, see, this is what happens. When you click it on, you go, if you come on my website, you go right to shopping. And you get to the author's page and you can shop for the author's book. So what I did for this author is I just did production. She holds her, she's her own publisher. She's an independent publisher, but I did all the production. I got the manuscript, did the layout, all of that stuff for her, and then I uploaded it to the different distribution channels, and voila, she's on tour with her book right now. This is a teaching guide that I have for this, so that you can get them into the schools. And these are my inspirational books. My inspirational books. These are stories to heal your life so you can help your child succeed. And I worked with I work with a lot of how should I put it now, schools and community organizations, and this set of books here, these three here, they are the ones that the schools are really in love with, and they buy them like crazy. As a matter of fact, I'm finding that people outside of the United States, as far as Tunisia, are buying my books for my inspirational books because they're really great for parents
Mhm.
and families. Then these are my plays and my short stories. You can't get these two right now because I'm kind of I work with these internally. I give them out sparingly.
Yeah.
Eventually, I pulled this one down after having a workshop with all my friends. I think it was my birthday, and invited a whole bunch of friends, maybe about 70 something people came on, and we read it. And guess what happened? All the thespians gave me their different ideas about the book. And
Mhm.
so the book get pulled down off of Amazon, and it is being reworked because them come up with all of them theater business and come mess up my brain and my book. You know what I'm saying? But
So
guess
you
what? When
had
it
your
come
own,
back,
you had your own little what you may call it, your own little focus group, but you didn't know that that is what it was gonna turn out into. I love it.
exactly, exactly. Then I have Woman in the Wind, which is my very, very first. I've been writing poetry for 100 years. This
Mm,
is my very, very first book of poems. It's a book of praise poems in the African praise poetry genre, and I've written it. I've adapted it to celebrate women who have made significant contributions across the world, from Louise Bennett to to Wangari Maathai, and it's again, it's available. Now, here's my poetry section. Staring into my soul. Oh my gosh, this was one of my teaching. I mean, I learned so much from the process of publishing with this particular book.
mhm.
I'm going to write a book about this process. This book. Curtis Myrie is a journalist,
Right.
and Mr. Myrie saw me at an event in Florida, and he says to me, "Don't take these little events for granted when you go and you're here fluffed up and everything. You don't know people are paying attention to you, right? I always walk with your little business cards and all that." So he comes to me after my performance, and Mr. Myrie says to me, I want you to hold my hands. I have a book that needs to get out, but I want you to hold my hands. Me no holding your hand alone, me holding your head, me holding your foot. Lord have mercy, the man work me, work me, work me, work me. But this has been the greatest teaching tool. He
For
got
you. Yes.
sponsorship. Yes,
Yes.
he got sponsorship for his book, and the team that worked with his book. It was a really, really hard work. And listen, this book is doing very, very well. So don't be afraid. Again, I say go to your. As a matter of fact, Mr. Myrie got his funding through his alma mater.
Mm.
He got it through millionaires come together and said, yes, man, we all went to school. This is what is it, St. George's College, Old Boys Association. Your alumni will support you, or so go
Right.
out there. They want to hear you. They know you've been doing all these poems. Every time them call you to have an event, you are there, Miss Gilfillian. You are there, Miss Monteith, and you are there. I think there's another person named Annette
Karen.
on here. Scroll
Yeah.
over. And Karen, listen, they've been working you a lot and having you read, make them pay feet now. Them will pay feet. That trust me, they will pay. They will, they might not pay you to come speak at them event, but listen, they will pay to have your book out there. Then Desert Sage, I did not do and also these two poetry books are. I only did the production. The team and I that I worked with, we only did the production. So these persons are now their full blown independent publishers.
Publishers.
And my coming soon. Yeah,
Love
coming
that
soon, coming
cover.
soon.
She laughs the revolution. I love that cover. That's awesome.
Coming soon is, first of all, Inspirations for Life's Journey. I consider it my very, very, very first book that I'm publishing all the way through to the end. And what a good way to bless the company by at this stage of the life with something that's spiritual. And
Yes.
so Roy V. White has written, he has been posting on into Calabar Old Boys Association and on his all of his colleagues. He's been posting every morning a little what he calls little nuggets. Well, now this is now advanced to full-blown book. Full-blown
Awesome.
book. So that is
You
coming
see, so
soon. And it's
therefore, what I'm hearing from you is that your book can literally, it reminds me of one of my writers here, who we're gonna hear from in a little later on. It reminds me of one of my writers here who she started with this kind of little bits. All right.
yeah.
So as we wrap
And
up
she
here,
la and
Andrene.
she laughs the revolution now is
Mhm.
based on interviews that I had with Dr. the Honorable Louise Bennett Coverley from 1997 until her passing.
I love
I
that.
was living in Hollywood at the time, and I said to her, Miss Lou, I would like to do a one-woman show celebrating 3 women from the Caribbean because I was serving on the board of the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival, which is a festival of solo performances. And I said, all right, fine. They're telling their American stories, their German stories, and their Irish stories. Let me tell my Caribbean story. So I picked up my phone and I called Louise Bennett. Well, Lord, my dear, she bust out a big laugh. She
Mhm.
laughed her head off. But after she laughed her head off, she said, oh dear, don't do take on too much, do one at a time.
Mhm.
Well, little did I know that her story alone would take me years of research and
Mhm.
writing and interviewing. Of course, she shut me down with the interview. She said, I called her one day and I said to her, Miss Lou, she said, listen, Bonner, don't call me to interview me today. Me not dead now.
Mhm.
Okay? And she lived 9 years after that. And so this book, I am so excited it's coming out. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I can't
we are
wait.
looking
So
forward to
that's what
that.
I'm doing. So I'm just showing you this is all that I do.
Love it.
This is the kind of work that I do. And this is what you can look forward to out there in the real world. And you can choose what you want. And the last thing I'm going to share is my contact information. My contact information. I don't need the rest of the slides because I think I tell you everything on the slide already. So I I invite consultation
Yes.
because my network is very huge. Now, you can consult with me. A lot of people tend to get into consulting with somebody and pay $50 and $25 and what have you. But I do not do an ordinary consult. You see what I have just done today. Can you imagine you
Yes.
doing a consult with me? All right.
Yes.
So I charge 275 and we discuss your vision, your expectation, and how we can align. So it's almost like a master class. Okay.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
just take a picture of this and I'm here. And again, I thank you so much, Totlin, for giving me this opportunity to share with you what I'm doing. And I can only grow by this process. And thank you all for giving me a listen. I appreciate it.
Look, we so appreciate you. We thank you so very much, Andrene, for being a part of this experience. This is our very first, you were my very first guest on Why I Write. Yes, indeed, you were. So this has come full circle right now that here we are 4 years later. Is that 4 years later? Let me see, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. 4 years later, I remember, Andrene, when I first met you in person, it must have been about what, 6, 7, 8 years ago in New York. We were in New York at that event by Andrew Broughter Clark. And we I had just self-published my very first book. You can stop sharing your screen now, Andrene, so we can see you full face. Yeah, it was my very first book I had published. It was Jamaica 101. I
Yes,
had
yes, I
published
remember.
this
I
book.
have it.
Yes.
I think I have more than one copy of it, because when I can't find some things on my shelf, I end up buy it again.
Liz, see it now? So this was the very first book I published, and the download was so deep. I had to find myself to the Jamaica Gleaner archives to start doing my research. It was so deep. And I found, and you said to me, how is your book doing? I said to myself, my goodness, I didn't even realize that she knew that I had a book out. So this was my first book that I did, and I remember you asking me about it. So I'm so pleased to have developed this relationship with you, where we not only talk about books, but we talk about creative things and we talk about life unfolding as the years have unfolded. I thank you so much for your rich contribution. This whole experience you just shared with us is definitely at least at a $6,750 US dollar value that is second to none. So I'm totally blown away by your being a, because usually when we're talking about Miss Lou, or we're talking about some book writing. And yes, I've interviewed one of your charges. I've interviewed Curtis. His interview can be seen on our YouTube channel. So
May I
so
just
look it
add
up.
something on
Yes,
Curtis for you quickly
yes,
about connection,
yes.
right? I asked my colleague Alice James to
Mhm,
interview him. She interviewed him. Then I might not be telling this story too perfect, but
mhm,
he read one of his poems,
mhm,
and she invested in his poem through
mm,
ads. And I remember she sent a screenshot to our WhatsApp, and it says 1,000 views.
mhm,
Then another time she sent, this is shortly after, 10,000 views.
mhm,
And it went up to 100,000 views. And not only 100,000 views, and I'm sure it's a lot more now, 100,000 views, but he had already got so many likes, more than 10% of them were turned out to be likes. And
That's
so the value of relationships,
that's what it is.
critical, critical, critical. Yes.
Andrene, thank you so very much for sharing with us today. And you know what? Rich stuff, guys, if you're watching and you've found value in what has been said, do share out this YouTube video. Share it out so that more and more people can hear and know what's going on in our literary world. And incidentally, just incidentally, all of us are from our beautiful island of Jamaica, where we share our thoughts and our well wishes at this time as our country and our fellow men, our country people, our fellow sisters and brothers are going through recovery at this time. We are resilient people. You know, we know how to. There's a beautiful folk song we have that has in it that's a whoa, then how you come over.
Yes.
We know how to come over. So we thank you again, Andrene, and we bless you. And if you're able to, we hope that later on in our live stream, we can get to have a mini panel discussion as we talk about the exciting life and times of writing and publishing. Thank you so much again, Andrene. Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I cherish it.
Is my
Thank you.
pleasure. Next
you.
up, we want to welcome our author, Novlette Monteith, who is currently residing in Florida. And she has published a book that is very spirit and faith-filled centered. And certainly we will want to hear from this. Novlet, I see your screen has gone dark. I don't know where you have disappeared to, but we definitely look forward to. So, Novlet, let me tell you a little bit about Novlet as she comes on our screen. Novlet's book is entitled, Novlet, do help me out here. I just lost my page. I had it on and I don't want to say it wrong. Novlet, yeah, turn on your microphone. That's right. And it's good to have folks at home helping us, right?
Yes.
Yes, Novlet. Welcome to Why I Write Online Showcase. It is so good to have you here with us as we unfurl and get to know each other. Again, this is another great grouping of ladies. We just happen to have ladies tonight. And I keep on saying tonight. I don't know why. I guess I'm so used to doing Why I Write at night and not in the middle of the day, Saturday. So, Novlet also hails from Jamaica, and we're so glad to have you here with us, Novlet. Tell us a little bit about where you're from in Jamaica and what life was like growing up for you in Jamaica.
Okay, thank you for having me, Ms. Sutlin. Thank you for having me, panel. I am from Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Oh,
I
how's
was
your family back there, family and friends?
they're doing good. One of my brothers, he lost everything, but other than that, everybody is doing well. Everybody is rallying together at this time. You know, each one help one. Everybody is going through a lot at this time. So
I can
thank God they're alive. Once
Yeah.
there is life, there is hope. So we'll get through this. Definitely.
Indeed.
Yes. So I was born and raised in Montego Bay, St. James. I went to school there. Grew up in a very strict household. My dad was a disciplinarian, and the path that I'm on right now, spiritual path, did not know at the time that all that strictness, so to speak, would have actually helped me to be where I'm at today and make me the person that I am today in regards to even having a relationship with God. Because we had to go to church Saturday and Sundays. So not knowing, as I said, that, you know, it was really paving a path for me to be where I'm at today, especially with my walk, my faith.
Yes. Your book is called Little is Much. because God is in it. You know, that alone says a whole lot. You know, for you to, yes, develop this walk, this faith walk with God, but it pushed you to the path of actually publishing. You know, it had to come out of you because in your profession, you're a healthcare professional, not so?
Yes, yes, I am.
Exactly. You know, how long have you been in that field?
I've been in the field about approximately 8 years. Approximately 8 years.
And in that field, I think that is where we definitely need faith more than anything else, more than the medicine, eh?
We need more than faith, yes. But it's not easy. It's not an easy field to be in. But again, I strongly believe that God places us in areas and situations in which we are needed the most, so to speak. Yeah. Because everybody is not going to be in health or finance or whatever. But I strongly believe that wherever you're needed at the time, that is where God is going to place you. That's where your purpose is.
I can definitely see that and understand that. Now, your book, what was the process like putting your book together for it to reach the final part? And I'm sure you have a copy there. If you could just hold it up so we could see it, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, that is, and I like the detail of it, the bread in that
Right.
basket. Little is much when God is in it. How did this book come together for you?
Okay. Basically, in the beginning, honestly, I started journaling, not knowing exactly where I was going with this. But I know this question was going to come about. So I basically was writing just to read how this book basically came about. So basically, I started journaling, as I said, not knowing exactly where this was going to go. However, I was at a stage in my life where I was going through, perhaps still going through a lot, and the Lord would have me journal as I go along. And He took me to a lonesome place where I had to shut out the noise around me, so to speak, and to listen to what He was telling me to do. So I was going back and forth, just as I'm talking to you, talking to the Lord. What is this you have me doing? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does make sense. But I, again, I just had to be obedient because not understanding at the time what I was doing, He knew exactly what He was doing. Yeah. So one
I
day I
see so
came in.
many smiles on our faces because it's like we know. It's like we know what you're talking about. Andrene talked about sitting on that noisy train and having to block out everything. And here you are talking about the same thing in a different form.
Right.
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
And the thing is, we don't have to understand at the time what He's telling us to do, but we ought to be obedient when He tells us to do something. And once God tells you to do something or even give you a vision to do something, trust me, you don't need validation or confirmation from anybody else. Yeah. So I just had to listen and be obedient to what He was telling me to do. And I came in from work one evening and I just walked into my room and I looked at my night table where I had my folders and my topics, and a book appeared in front of me. Basically, just walking, seeing a book on the night table. And I'm like, okay, God, this is what's up. This is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And coming in on a daily basis, get up early morning when everybody is asleep, on my downtime at work. The only thing I wanted to do was to write and research and put my stuff together until finally the book. This is what the book came out to be, to look like. And I must say, also, God could have used me to write anything else, I believe, but he did not allow me to write a memoir or a love story about Novlette. He allowed me, he used me as a vessel to bring forth his word to both the believers and who are still seeking
Yes.
to know more about him in the form of a book. And I'm just grateful and thankful that he would use me as a humble servant to bring forth this book. And again, it's not my book. Let me correct that. This is God's book.
Oh, I'm loving this. I want you, Novlette. I know you had marked a page because I saw you remove the page marker. I know you want to share from your book.
Mm.
When God, see, I keep on losing my page. Sure. Yeah, little in is much when
Yes.
God is in it. So do us the favor of reading from your book at this time.
Okay, I'm gonna go to one of my favorite topics. Just to highlight a few of the topics. First topic is born for a purpose. You have another topic chosen called scent, bloom where you're planted, discernment through Christ. This is the day that the Lord has made. God is love, miracle out of a mess. And all these topics, there are about 40 plus topics in this book. The title, Little is Much When God is in It, is from every little pieces, bits and pieces of my life that comes together, making up all these topics. And it is relatable to everything, most things that is going on in today's day and age. So it's a relatable book where you pick it up, and as I was told, it is very grasping and catchy. It's catchy in the sense where it drags you in. And to God be the glory, because when we go back to even reading the Bible, sometimes we pick up the Bible and we said, this is a big book and a long book to read. But the topics the topics in the book literally breaks down scriptures in the book that lines up to the topics. So if I may, I'm just gonna read a little part from Know Your Worth, which is on page 54, 58. And it says, know your worth. It comes from Ephesians 2, verse 6. This is where I got my information from. And hath rise up us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. Never let what anyone says about you nor your past defines you. Who cares what other people think about you? After all, opinions are not facts. Always remember only 3 opinions should matter to you. What God thinks about you, your opinion of God, and what you think about yourself. So that's just a short part that leads up to the entire passage in this book. If I may go a little further, I'm just going to skip over certain parts there. This passage, this topic basically was talking about a son of Saul. His name was, they pronounce the names different, but I pronounce it, I break it up in syllables just to help me to get the correct pronunciation of the name. 𝐻𝐻𝐵. So 𝐻𝐻𝐵 basically was Jonathan's son and the grandson of Saul. But he didn't believe in himself because he had a deformity. He was not born this way, but as a child growing up, as a baby, he fell from the hands of the nurse that was taking care of him. And because of that, he looked down on himself, and other people looked down on him as well. And if we really look at it, sometimes we allow our past to define us or to leave a label. And sometimes it's what you put out there that people go ahead also and perceive you as. But we should not look on ourselves as that, because God does not see us like that. And because of how he looked at himself, when he was invited to the table to sit with King David, he could not believe it. Because King David, just as Jesus, did not see him as being deformed or as being a nobody. So he looked down on himself basically as because he was in a place of Lodabar, which means worthlessness, a place of nothing. But what I like at the end of the story, it says here, the Lord prepares a table before you in the presence of my enemies. Psalms 23, verse 5. And when God invites you to sit at his table, it is because you are favored and chosen. He knows your heart and he knows your weakness, but yet still he calls you. He knows you inside out. And this is also a reminder that God can use anyone to bless you. And the table is level when God invites you to sit there. So we should not look down and beat up on ourselves, so to speak, because of what people think about you. Again, at the end of the day, that's their opinion.
Yes.
Yes? And you
Yes.
cannot let what a person say defines the person that you are and who God sees you and call you to be. So that's just a little part from
A little
that.
taste of what your book offers. So your book is offering to us, as you said in the beginning, it is great. It is great for those who are already on the path, those who find themselves in a challenging path of struggle, or maybe sometimes we read these books and we get the opportunity to draw from these books to encourage others. And just at the right time and the right place. I'm just very touched and moved at your plaintive commitment to grasping all that you experienced to churn it out in a way that others could read and be inspired and to be reminded, because every one of us watching, all our fans here on YouTube, we just want to definitely give a shout out to Deirdre and Shelly and Curtis, everyone who's tuning in right now. Your opportunity is always present to get that dose of inspiration. I'm inspired to get that dose of inspiration that you need. So I want to say congratulations to you on getting this book out.
Thank you.
And how difficult or easy was it for you to get this book out?
It was a bit of a challenge, but to be honest with you, when you allow, and it might sound cliche what I'm going to say, but when you allow the Lord to have his way with whatever he presented you to do, it becomes easy. Because I self-published. I was listening to Miss Bonner earlier, and I self-published this book, and I had to get it edited by a professional, and 90% of the work I did. I had to discipline myself and allow God to remove and maneuver stuff around in the way in which he wanted it to be presented out there. And as I told her, I didn't want AI. Do not change anything I sent to you.
Right.
Right. I don't want this to be AI book right. So
I got you.
Yes, I just had to be disciplined and listen and just go as how God led me to put this together.
This is amazing. Look, Novlette, we hope to hear from you more later on in our panel discussion, because we want to touch on some of these hot topics like AI and following the lead, the inspiration that comes upon you to lean in, to do what we need to do as creatives. Because we're not probably creating cars or creating buildings, we may look down on or add it on our talents and skills that God give us to do. This very production that we're in the midst of came from an inspiration, again, from my higher spirit, my higher God.
Right.
That says, offer this
Mhm.
so that we can come together as a community at this time. Because anywhere where you are, especially on the Western Hemisphere, between the United States, Jamaica, the Caribbean, wherever we are, we're facing some stuff right now.
Right. Mhm.
And it's time for us to, again, create community, touch. We all probably can't get on Air Jamaica anymore and
Mhm.
fly down to Jamaica to do
Right.
anything, but we can hold each other's hands
Mhm.
where we are right now, right now.
Correct.
And no matter where we are in the world, we're able to do this. Novlette, thank you so much for sharing. Tell us where we can get your book.
So presently, my book is available on Amazon. Working also, I'm also trying to get it into Barnes and Noble. So
Mhm.
presently, it's on Amazon,
Yes.
and you can also follow the page to DM me or to get in touch with me on underscore little is much when God is in it on Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. Congratulations once more,
Thank
Novlette,
you.
for
Thank
being
you.
with us. And it really, really is our pleasure to meet you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
Welcome if
you.
you're just, thank you so much. Welcome if you're just joining us, folks. We're in the middle of our Why Right, very first Why Right online book showcase, because we saw the need where folks need to know that our writers exist, our authors exist, we're not invisible, and our work exists. So we just wanted to just jump right in here and give us the opportunity when we have a little bit more time, it's not close to our bedtime, and sit down and really reason with each other and get this kind of focus going. Because yes, there are so many distractions in our world today that it still behooves us to take control of our mental spirit. Yes, there is a mental spirit we have, an emotional spirit that, we don't give them these names. So sometimes when we name these things, this is how we get to connect and understand where we are in the scheme of things. So thank you again, everyone. We have our next writer coming up in just a moment, but not before. I just want to bring to your attention some books that are available um, online depending on your interest. Some of these authors I have already spoken with on Why I Write. As I mentioned before, we have our Jamaica 101 book that is still available on Amazon. And this carries vignettes, features about Jamaica. Jamaica is so much in the forefront right now with this hurricane. And I want to just take this little portion and say thanks to everyone who internationally who has really been reaching out. As you just heard from Novlette. Novlette has family and relatives who have been affected by the hurricane, and people losing everything but their lives, thank God. So Jamaica is at the forefront. Jamaica still is and always will be what Jamaica is. Absolutely great. Jamaica land we love. In Jamaica 101, we have our contents featuring 25 it's 25 chapters of 50 things in Jamaica that you can know about. Birds to be seen in Jamaica. I'm wondering what the bird population is like now. They probably flew up before the hurricane because they have that instinct. We have 50 common phrase and slangs and colloquialisms from out of Jamaica. 50 favorite foods, 50 favorite drinks of Jamaicans, 50 funny sounding Jamaican words. Woo, 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 woo. And this is what happens sometimes when your computer is not stable. So anyway, funny sounding words, gospel songs and choruses that Jamaicans love is in this book. 50 home and herbal remedies that we use in Jamaica. 50 of the best Jamaican gifts to give and receive. And that's another intention of this um, online showcase, to remind you that books make wonderful gifts. 50 Jamaican popular nicknames. So I find that this book, when I wrote this book, I wrote it because so many Jamaicans have Jamaican children in the US, in the UK, in Europe, and they are apart from the culture. We see a lot of people, eating up Jamaican culture on Instagram. This is our new cover. So when you go on Amazon, you're gonna see this cover. It has been re-upped, and you look for it, Jamaica 101. It has been rescheduled, pretty much like how Andrene has to redo her short plays. We now have it in color, and this was published on the occasion of Jamaica's 50th anniversary, hence the 50 listing of 50 things. So this is something definitely you can go through and connect with your Jamaicanness, and something that's evergreen because it still is applicable. Another Jamaican book that you might find interesting. This came out of a research. Again, another author that we interviewed on Why I Write. This is called Marriage Jamaican Style. When Wives Migrate. When wives migrate and leave their husbands behind. This is written by Elaine Douglas Harrison, and this has been a work out of her dissertation for her doctorate. And she gave us a wonderful story how even her grandson helped her with the development of the cover. For over 100 years, Jamaicans have been migrating to make a better life for themselves and their families. In the early 20th century, husbands migrated, leaving wives behind. In the recent years, as the economies of the USA and Canada have become more service-oriented, wives migrate and leave husbands behind. The offshoot of a PhD dissertation, this book looks at what maintains these marriages over time, and sometimes for decades. By focusing on these Jamaican transnational marriages, the author casts a different light on Jamaican migration, while also offering a provocative glance into legal marriage in Jamaica and perhaps even in other Afro-Caribbean countries as well. So I love that this book came out to be as it did. Without further ado, let's move on to our next featured guest. Our next featured guest is Miss Sylvia. Where is Sylvia? I don't see Sylvia here on my screen. Where has Sylvia gone to? So our next featured guest is Sylvia Gilfillian, who wrote the book On the Road to Timnath. And that is a very interesting folk book that all right, let me just double check to make sure that we see her. Okay, I see her coming back up here. Right. So you should be back in. And that is our next guest. Now, Sylvia has been on our Why I Write show before, and this is her inaugural novel that she has won. She has won awards for. So in a little while, we expect to see Sylvia coming up here. Let's see what's going on here. If not, we will just move ahead to our next feature.
I'm seeing her. I'm seeing her on the screen.
All right. So okay, now we see.
Yeah, some funny stuff happened. It's a devil's work.
That's what usually happens when we do lives. When we do lives, people have often asked me, why you don't record when I like the live feel simply because it is real, it's connected, it's now. And that works to me. How you do, my girl? Sylvia in Bethlehem, not Jerusalem.
As my mother would say, little bit left.
Little bit left.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. You two, you are from the western end of the island of Jamaica,
From
Trelawney.
Trelawney. From
Right.
Trelawney.
How are your folks and Parishina doing over there?
I am grateful to God nobody died. My 101-year-old cousin, she lost the entire top of her house.
Wow.
One of my brothers lost his roof. One of my nieces lost a house and a part of a house. But my family home is standing strong. And my sister-in-law lost her roof as well. But
Mm.
nobody was injured. Nobody died. And for that, I'm grateful. My 95-year-old mother, she's alive and well. Thank God. So
Wow.
I'm
I
just
love this.
grateful.
That is amazing.
My
That is
little brother was in the middle of it at Sandals, because that's where
Mhm.
he works. I'm sure he has stories. You should probably interview him.
Listen, you need to interview him and capture some of those stories and find out what some of the visitors would say. I saw a video, I don't know if anyone saw on social media, a video of a hospitality worker talking about the responses of some of the visitors in the midst of the disaster. But you know what? In Jamaica, we have a saying, we take bad things, make laugh.
Yeah.
Wait, so it's so good to see you, Sylvia. It's been a minute
Same here.
since
That's
we've
true.
spoken.
That's true.
It's been a minute since we've spoken.
Yes.
We have talked, and I am just loving how you are able to show up today on this platform on our very first online book showcase. This is one of the easiest book fairs that you'll ever get to come to because you don't have to get on a plane, a train, drive in traffic, go nowhere.
Oh, yes.
Sit down right there at your home and participate. Sylvia, tell me, how was it for you the first time when I spoke with you on Why I Write?
Well, I'm eternally grateful because you were the first or the second. Neville Bell was the first person, I think, who gave me a platform, and you were the second. And it was because I'm camera shy. But you made it so easy. You made it so easy for me to do it. And I have to link Miss Andrene because what the work I am doing, I'm so happy to hear that there's somebody out there who is doing what I am doing because I am wedded to and committed to the Jamaican language. I write it. Um, and I wrote The Road to Timnath to give life to characters I had not seen in any Caribbean. I'd seen cousins of them, shadows of them, but I hadn't seen the fullness of these people. You know, people tend to present them as bits and pieces and comic characters, and I
Just
wasn't.
caricatures.
Yes, and I wasn't interested in those because I wasn't raised by comic characters. They're funny, but they are fully realized human beings, complex, complicated, contradictory. And that's what I set out to do. And I've actually finished the sequel, The Waters of Gilead.
Wow.
I'm getting ready now to publish. Yes.
Excellent. Who is your favorite character from The Road to Timnath?
Oh, that's like asking a parent about a favorite child. I think it is Miss Maudie. Miss
Yeah.
Maudie Joni's grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Me.
A very flawed woman, but her heart, she has a good heart. She's the product of colonialism and she's influenced by, what we have been taught about blackness and all of that. But she is at heart a good human being.
Mm,
Yes.
nice. I see you're reaching for the book, so it sounds like you want to read from your The Road to Timnath for us right now.
Okay, I could do that.
Yes, please.
This is a story, as some of you know, those of you who have read it, it's a multi-generational story and there are many different characters. But the main characters are Joni and Jimmy. And their love story is a very big part of this novel. Now, I'm going to read from the section where Joni seduces Jimmy. Jimmy is engaged to a dark-skinned woman, and Joni is in love with Jimmy, and she's convinced that Jimmy actually loves her. But his grandmother doesn't like her, so she feels that he chose Genevieve swearing over her to please his grandmother. So she decides that if she can't have him, she will have him.
Mm-hmm.
So this is after the sex.
Mm-hmm. Wait, sex is in this book?
Oh, yes. Everything is in there. Obia, sex, fight, gunshot. It's all there. And a lot of love.
Yes.
So, so Jimmy, after the whole incident, Jimmy is mad because Jimmy is in training to become a pastor. And Jimmy is a virgin. He wants to have his first sexual encounter with his bride.
Mm-hmm.
And Joni has seduced him, and he's mad and upset and ashamed. But he's now sorry about the way he has treated her. So he comes over to her room on the UWI campus to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy knocked once more, but Joni did not answer because her mind was still playing over the morning's events, and she was beginning to be disgusted with herself. Up until then, she had believed that when she finally gave up her virginity, the moment would have been special and full of tenderness. Nothing had prepared her for the brutality of the encounter. Just that morning, Jimmy had plundered her like a ripened field. He had bulldozed his way thoughtlessly through her like she was nothing more than a hurdle to overcome. But she had no one to blame but herself. Now the damn crowbait turned up outside her door and attacking her in passing voice. Would to God she could have thumped him in her blasted face. At that moment, she hated the green-eyed bastard with such concentrated rage that her heart felt weighted. Joni sat trembling on the edge of her bed and did not realize that she had bitten through her lip until she tasted the raw saltiness of her own blood. Joni, open the door and talk to me because I'm not going anywhere until you do. Just then, Joni heard a chorus of male laughter from the grassy center of the block of buildings. She heard one say, "Hey, wait a minute, look like Parson come to preach." She listened from behind her closed door and recognized the growling bass voice of a Trinidadian who had been pursuing her from her first year at the university. "Hey, Parson, you could just quit while you're ahead because Joan Jackman ain't kind. You could preach like Paul, but you ain't getting nothing, Parson. I be down on my hands and knees and the girl kicked me over." There was more ribald laughter, and she knew that they were prepared to rag Jimmy, just for the fun of watching him squirm. She also knew they were out for blood. There was nothing these men liked more than to catch a theological student chasing tail. Inside the room, Joni sat listening to the men and began to feel a new line of anger. Her antipathy was directed at the Trinidadian. He had told her in her first semester that because of her refusal to sleep with him, she had caused him to break his record of the past 4 years. He claimed that with the exception of her, he had always been the first man on the hall of residence to bed the prettiest fresh woman. He was a graduate student on scholarship, but so far, Joni had not managed to find out what he was studying. Someone once whispered to her that his grandfather was a powerful politician in his home country. Joni figured that was why he was allowed to remain in a graduate program, although he attended very few classes and spent most of his time carousing and drinking at the Students' Union. Okay, so I'm jumping ahead. Jimmy's still knocking. After more than 10 minutes of silence, he spoke in a... Oh, my bad. This was the Trinidadian who had approached Joni one day when she was eating lunch and told her that she thought she was too good for man, but somebody was going to throw her down someplace and take that cherry that she thought was so special. After more than 10 minutes of silence, he spoke in a nasty whisper, his voice husky with desire. You think you're too good for man, Miss Joan Jackman. But one dark night, somebody bound to throw you down and pick that cherry that you think is such a prize. Or maybe your pastor friend don't pick it already. Instead of responding with words, Joni mustered all of the contempt that she felt for most men, and without blinking an eye, she spat the half-eaten food from her mouth onto the rest of her lunch. She then picked up her book and purse, and without a backward glance, walked away from the table. Well, today she would show the stinking billy goat that she had had her cherry picked, and he had had no part of it. She got up and opened the door. Jimmy stood, arms folded across his chest, and leaning against the iron rails that bordered the walkway outside of her room. On the grassy lawn below, 7 young men stood with upturned faces, eyeing Jimmy and Joni with a mixture of amusement, cruelty, and plain envy. Joni looked down at them and didn't know whether to spit or raise her skirt in the age-old gesture of contempt. Once more, men had lived down to her expectations. Jimmy brushed past her to enter her room, and she looked straight into the eyes of her rejected suitor and saw the feral hunger there. It took all of the restraint that she could muster not to raise her middle finger. When she turned to go back into her room, their laughter rushed up to her, and she could feel her face getting hot. She was about to slam the door when a short, bow-legged, rusty brown one hollered, "Make a few strokes to me, but do not cut up the sappy, you hear, Reverend?"
Oh my goodness. And folks, trust me, the other parts of the book are as graphic and as, you know what I noticed? I see Andrene over there dying with laughter. What I notice is that you have excellently captured the mood and the age of what life was like on the UWI campus when young people went to pursue their baccalaureate studies. You've also captured even in the accents, the way you read it. That was the beauty about going to the University of West Indies, to hear the different Caribbean accents
For
in
sure,
one
for
place.
sure.
And it's interesting that in your novel, The Road to Timnath, you have captured an element of a time on the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, which I dare say also took place at Cave Hill and at the Augustine campus in Trinidad. So you have in that small vignette shared with us part of our life story, or especially in the early 70s, because you say that this work is multi-generational. How did you manage to capture all of these salient moods of the time, moving from one age to another?
Well, I think that's why it took me, 16 years to complete this book? Because I had to do a great deal of research, but thank God for the internet. That's number one. Number two, I have an ability to disappear into the wallpaper when I'm in a room. And then I become all eyes and ears. And God blessed me with a memory. I'm able to recall whole chunks of conversations. Because everything, this is a work of fiction, but everything that I have written is based on something I've either heard or read or experienced. So it's not that I set out to write people's stories, but I allowed my lived experience, the things I heard from my parents, that is why there are so many proverbs in the book, because I was raised by country people who had a proverb for every situation. And I just soaked up everything.
Yes. Yes,
and
yes.
Wherever I've been in my life, I have listened and looked and remembered.
Yes.
And I've always been given to telling stories. I'm a storyteller.
Yes. But
Yes,
so
that's
is
what
your
I do.
mother, you told me when we first met.
And my father, my late father too. They were
Yes.
storytellers. We didn't
Them
have
love-
TV. They told
Yes.
stories. Yes,
Oral
Duppy
tradition.
stories.
Yes. And those Duppy stories used to be so scary.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my goodness.
You better make sure you wash your feet before the story get finished, because you know how many times we're afraid I'm going to the bed and my mother haul us out to go wash off because we walk barefooted.
Yeah,
And
you have
she
to
had
go
a
check.
rule: you can't sleep. What, you take sick in the night and people come to help her, you pick them foot dirty?
No,
Can't
it
happen.
can't work. You know, what you've done is captured, and I want us to touch on this when we all get to speak, you know, at the end. I want us, you know, the reason our author work is so seminally important and interesting. How else are we going to capture and solidify? And like Novlette said, she didn't want no AI work. How else are we going to capture and solidify and literally freeze parts of the time of a Jamaica that, yes, did experience, if we don't write these stories? Like you mentioned, you see these characters, but you don't hear them written about much.
No, because I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this just
You're not
came to me.
interrupting. We're conversing.
Because a big part of our problem is that we're still fighting about the language. I do a great deal of work with my friend, my sister friend Joanne Richards Goff, who is involved with the Patois Bible. And I read for them sometimes too. And you'd be surprised at how resistant, even people who don't speak standard English, they're so conflicted about the language of the people, because they actually believe said the Jamaican language is not a real language.
Bad. It's
Them,
bad.
yeah,
It's
them,
bad
them
language.
look at it like the way you treat a black pot. You know the pot where you cook outside in? The food sweet like nobody business, but you don't want nobody to the pot. That is the attitude that people have towards we talk. And I am committed till I say, breathe my last breath, to put the people them language on the page.
Yes.
Because it is language. And how you going to respect people if you don't respect the
language?
How can people feel good about themselves if you tell them that the thing that they talk, it no good? Yeah, so.
Yeah. You also are a former educator.
Oh, yes, I was an English teacher for many years.
Yes, you're a former educator, and again, teaching the English language. What folks don't understand is that being a proponent of our students, facilitating the learning of the English language by our students is just another skill set that is important to be had in life, in the general work life, because it also helps you to name things in your life experience to help you make sense of it. Same thing like how there are no English words to cover some Jamaican words. Vice versa is all so true. We don't have words, we have sounds, right?
Well, you see, the thing is this: there's the people who make language policy don't really seem to understand how language works, because they have this anxiety that if you respect the people's mother tongue, then you are sidelining English. And no gosso. Every time I hear that fraudulent debate, I get so frustrated, because it's not true. You can use the language that the people know to teach them the target language. It has been done.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to shame the people. We talked at length about the shame and embarrassment I experienced as a child, because my first language is the Jamaican language. It's common entrance and free education. And I was always a voracious reader. I understood the language, but I didn't speak it well. And I learned to speak it from being around people who spoke it well.
Well, right.
You understand? I'm not handicapped. I'm just bilingual. Simple. And I can slide between the two languages at the drop of a hat.
As they call it, code switching. They call it code switching. So they say. But I want you to take me back to year one of that 16 years it took you to write this novel, The Road to Timnath. What actually forced you? Were you inspired like a novelette to sit down and say, I need to get this out now, or what?
As I told Neville Bell, I was pregnant with my DJ when
You're
I
pregnant,
started.
you're pregnant. I'm
Yes, man,
pregnant.
like
Sharon, I'm
Sharon.
pregnant, you're pregnant.
Just like, but this time I was, unfortunately for Sharon, but anyhow, I was very much married and in my mid-30s. I'd get me one chance to have my one bambino. And I started out, I was going through some stuff. And I started writing to really vent. I didn't intend to write a novel. I was trying to explore what I was going through to make sense of it. I'm not going to go into too many details, but I was dealing with a human being who just didn't understand boundaries. And was really destructive and vindictive and jealous. And I was trying to make sense of this person's emotions. So I started writing. And that's how I came up with Jimmy, the Jimmy and Joni story with Genevieve, you know. But as I wrote, the story just took on a life of its own. And I realized, I sent the manuscript to a well-known Jamaican author, and he read it, and I had tacked on a Jamaican speaking character at the end, and he said, this character is a headache unless you make this the narrative voice of the novel. And that gave me an idea. So Audrey Matthews was invented after I actually wrote the novel. I went back and I rewrote it, and I embedded Audrey Matthews in the novel as the major narrative voice. And it became, over time, something much more than what I had set out to write. And then in the middle of all of this, I went back to school to do an MFA in creative writing, to school here, because I had left Jamaica without finishing my master's degree. So some years later, I went back to school here and got the opportunity to present my work to non-Jamaican readers. And in the midst of all of that, the Raphael Cain character just came to me. And actually, I started to hear his voice before I actually saw him, and then realized that he had a place in the story. And that's how he became the one who went to Panama and came back to challenge the colonial system. And his daughter is the one who gets raped by the Scottish pastor. And she becomes the mother of the Reverend James John Whitehead I.
This story deep. This story well deep. I don't think it would take us 3 hours or more, to get through. That's why we got to read the book. Let's see a cover of that book, Sylvia. And where can we find this book? Guys, you got to read this book.
It's
The
on
Road
Amazon.
to Timnath.
Yes.
Right? And I like how you have that Jamaican language right underneath it. The Road
to Timnath. Yes.
Sylvia Gilfillion. I almost said Gilligan. Sylvia Gilfillion, that is what you will see on Amazon, The Road to Timnath. This is a great time to invest ourselves in the stories of Jamaica land we love, because this is where all the warmth and the feels come from. Reading something tactile. Is it on ebook form? Is it in an ebook format yet?
It is in ebook, but I'm also trying to do the audiobook.
Right.
And that is why I have to speak with Miss Andrene, because I think she has a lot to tell me. And I finished the sequel, which is the story of Joni. It's Joni's story. Yes, because she's fatherless. She's fatherless, and her father is a white American and she wants to know. She doesn't know this until, maybe I shouldn't have told you that. But anywho, she is in search of her identity because after at the end of the road to Timnath, she's in the midst of postpartum psychosis. So the waters of Gilead opens with Joni going through and going under psychiatric care.
Listen, so much to absorb, so much to take in. We're looking forward to the release of that book because, we have to talk about it on Why I Write. But still, I love how your book, The Road to Timnath, keeps on giving. So everyone, you can find that book on Amazon. Look for The Road to Timnath. No other book has that title. Look for The Road to Timnath. And I hope, Sylvia, you are able to stick around as we
I
wrap.
will.
And I want to have so much of what has been said to date really bears a mini discussion as we wrap up today. So I thank you so much for that contribution about the road to Timnath. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I should thank you.
Awesome sauce. That was Sylvia Gilfillion, everyone, with her book based in strong Jamaican culture over 3-4 generations. This is a book you have to, and look, you can form a book club with anybody, anytime. Grab these books and go through them. Don't just buy the books. I'm a book addict. You should see my place.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. So, but this is a great way to escape the outside world, if even for an hour or two every other day, and to get your own identity going. Believe it or not, when we get involved in these types of books, this is what takes place. I want to share with you a few more books here that are great for you to grab onto. This author is 𝐻𝐿𝐿. Now, if you love cats, it's now on Amazon. If you love cats, this is a beautiful book called Cat Wisdom by J.T. Ricotti. This is a book I helped edit, and it's now on Amazon. It has some very interesting sayings with the cat as the main character. We know that cats are funny. If you follow me in the evenings, I'm watching cat videos morning, noon, and night. So you got to see a copy of this book, Cat Wisdom, and it's a picture book with humorous dad humor for you to get involved with. And now we've been talking about books for grown-ups, but what about the kids? We have kids' books also available. Here is one of the latest books I have edited. This author, Carol Patton, she wrote these stories over 10 years ago. So sometimes when the stories come to you, it doesn't mean that they come out of you same time and they get into 3D. Beautiful pictures. It's about a little boy who doesn't like to wear shoes. Beautifully illustrated here. And the story goes through about this child just wanting to be himself and just running up and down barefoot. In a day and age where we're not as grounded as we could be, our kids sometimes are not as grounded, we have found that so many kids love this book. Here's another book that I also edited by the same author. It's called Lily Wants to Dance. Lily is a little girl who wants to follow her dreams of becoming a dancer. Again, this story was born well over 10 years ago. And came back to the author to let me just see, let me see what happens. So this is newly released, now available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Both of them are. And I'm so pleased to have been a part of this project as an editor, because what it shows you is that sometimes we have stories within us that need to be told, and we just sit on them. We even write the manuscripts and we sit on them because, like Novlette was saying, we doubt ourselves going ahead. I had little doubts about doing my own book, Jamaica 101, when I did it, because there didn't seem to be the kind of oh, yes, that's great. And I've shared it with publishers and whatnot, and it was going nowhere. So imagine my pleasure when it started to create excitement amongst especially Jamaicans in the US who had been away for long. So you have that book, go ahead and you that book, put that book out. Do not hesitate because people are looking for your book. They want books to share with others. And they really want to give books as gifts. I think they're one of the most long-lasting gifts that you can give anyone. The book of books. They last forever. And every time I take them up, they're also available in what you may call it, in hardcover too. So this is our Daniel's Toes, and this is for the kiddies. All right, so let's move on to our next author this afternoon in the person of Karen. She has so many names. I don't know, Karen Goss, Karen Powell, and then you have a very interesting writer pen name. At this time on our Why I Write online book showcase, we want to introduce to you our next writer in the person of Karen Powell. Hello, Karen. How are you doing today?
Hello, thank you so much.
So good to see you. So good to have you. I love
I
your
am honored.
glasses. I love the glasses.
I made sure to keep the theme of green as you dressed me in green. So
Hey,
my
I know, right? Now, that's what those are the things I use AI for. I have no problem using AI for the things that enhance and not dictate. Lady Karen, welcome, welcome, welcome. You are also another fellow Jamaican, Jamaican sister of the sun, sea, and soil. Which parish in Jamaica are you from?
I am from St. Elizabeth.
Oh, wow. Everybody here come from the West except me. Look at that. The
Yes.
breadbasket of Jamaica. How are your family members doing back home?
My family are doing well. As you know, Black River suffered the devastating consequences of Melissa. But I'm from Bull Savannah on the southeast, a tiny little community called Green Olive. And we were fine. My family members are fine. And nobody suffered. You know, they're all still alive. No roofs vanished. So I'm grateful and thankful.
Are they accessible at this time?
Yes, they are accessible.
That's good.
In fact, Junction, which is a town in St. Elizabeth, that's pretty an up and coming town, is where everybody's going now to purchase their things and to access services like MoneyGram, etc. As Santa Cruz and Black River, you know, got the blunt of Melissa.
Well, it's good to know. It's good to know, and I'm glad that you're able to tune in here. When we're in this business of producing online shows, content, one of the reasons I like us doing it live is because we get to be current. We get to respond to the tone that is in our community, even though we're not on terra firma of Jamaica. The reality is that we're all Jamaicans and we're bonded by our Jamaicanness.
Absolutely.
In the diversity in which it shows. So I'm glad we're able to mention it. Now, Karen, you have a book out. What made you into a writer?
Interestingly, I should tell you that I really do love the title of your podcast, Why I Write. It is such a profound question, and I never considered why I wrote or why I write before I heard the title. And it led me to think about the reasons why I write, and it's many and varied. And I realize I write because I have a love affair with the English language. I see it as a tremendously powerful resource. I write to exorcise some of my trauma, to explore my humanity, to give comfort to myself, to express my personal and collective experience of Jamaica, to honor women's lived reality. And I may even be delusional enough to think I write because I can capture and preserve the world in words. So just the title of your podcast has led me to think and consider about the reasons why I write. I write also because I'm insecure. I write also because I want answers. So thank you for that. Thank you for the title, for the question.
I've never heard it so beautifully explained as you've just described. Because even in experiencing why I write as well, I write for pretty much the same reasons. I know one of the reasons I write is to be seen. Another reason, I never considered myself a writer, and that's weird that I never considered myself a writer, considering I've been writing from before 16 years old. Never considered myself a writer. Yeah, never considered myself a writer because I was doing what you were doing. I was expressing myself, trying to identify myself, feeling the feelings that came up and came out in words. One of my first poems I wrote, I actually did a creative writing class when I was doing my undergrad at UWI. And I pretty much experienced some of what was described in Sylvia's capture of that interaction at the UWI, especially from the energy of the guys who were there. That's also for another story. But in creative writing, I wrote the story 𝐻𝗵𝗏. And eventually it was published in the North Carolina Anthology of Poems just a month or so ago. And that poem is that old. And as I hear your story, each of your stories, I recognize myself in every one of you. So I love your explanation as to why you write, because it's never just one answer. It is a series of answers. And I noticed between your writing and the writing that we'll hear from Annette later on, and even from some of the writing we just heard from Sylvia, and perhaps some of what Andrene has written, and quite a bit of what Novlette has experienced, is that we write from the experiences with our maternal influences, as your book is. Your book, Mother Waters. How did this come about? And I find the title very interesting because you know why? It doesn't say the mother of waters or my mother's water. It's just the way it's titled, Mother Waters. It's different. It sounds incomplete, but it begs more of my interest.
Thank you.
How did your book come about?
On the cover of my book sits my mother immersed in water that washes the shore of Alligator Pond in St. Elizabeth. Now, I grew up in St. Elizabeth, and as you know, we have a technique called dry farming because there is drought. So we never had much water. So one of the places that we would go as children is to Alligator Pond, where we would spend the day. And it would be a family event. And so ever so often, I would go back to Alligator Pond. And in this particular time, I took my mom, and she too loved the water, and she sat on the shore she sat in the sand, and we took that picture, and my daughter created a cover for my book. So Mother Water is really, I'm not just talking about my mother and the extent to which water brings comfort as a mother does, or the mothering effect that water has. But I'm thinking of those waters that cleanse, that caress, that nurtures. So I'm thinking, so I'm moving basically from the specific to the general. No, from the general to the specific. So Mother Waters in that context. My mother as a nurturing force, but the waters that even wash our island as a source of comfort. Yes.
Yes. Maybe that is one of the reasons we recover from a water disaster as quickly as we do, because we recognize that where our island is placed, we're all surrounded by water. There's nowhere to run from the water, but we accept it as a natural part of our unfolding. Disaster is something that's not new to us, and water gives us way more life than it gives us death. So it's very interesting how you put it, that waters bring us comfort. Water was also a gathering place for community women back in the day to wash them clothes, to share, cook food by the riverside. You know, and as you mentioned about Black River, I've been on the Black River Safari. It's a hauntingly beautiful experience. You know, no wonder the scouts found that location to film that James Bond movie the time that they did. You know, how long did it take you to put together your poetry pieces for your book, Mother Waters?
To be honest, I had been writing and sharing my writing with friends, and they kept saying, Karen, you absolutely must put together a collection. And having come to North Carolina to teach, because I'm a teacher, I've taught for 30 years, 2 tours of
30
duty
years.
in the
You
United
started
Kingdom.
when you were one girl?
Thank you. I tell people that the body is a reflection of the soul that it carries.
Amen.
So if I look a particular way, it's a reflection of my soul.
There you go. There you go.
So my friends encouraged me. They say, Karen, you absolutely must create an anthology. And so, having come to North Carolina to teach, I found the space, I found the quiet, I found the loneliness, I found the silence, I found the fears, I found all the reasons to write, to create this book. And so I was able to do it in a year. Yeah, so it took me a year to put together the poems in the collection.
I like that. I like that so very much. Let us take a look at when you said, you know, I found the fears and I found the loneliness. And I want to pick out those two emotions, those two emotional states of being, because as you may have seen in the classroom, where there seems to be a departure, a running away from all the different levels of what we experience as human beings, where the world is telling us one thing, maybe social media for our youngsters. You must always be happy and always be looking shiny and good, and perfection is the only way to be. There's only one way of life. So there's no vulnerability. There is no accepting that, you know what? I think I'm afraid of doing that as opposed to this. How do you acknowledge these emotions in the poetry fields that you get to capture with your pen?
To be honest, I would describe myself as being squeezed into poetry. And if you don't mind, I would like to call on Emily Dickin's, her poem where she says, "They shut me up in prose as when a little girl, they put me in a closet because they liked me still." So I think that being able to express my poetry placed me in a position where I was able to forgive myself for not being perfect, to choose courage over perfection, and to honor those parts of me that stayed silent, and to be able to connect with something more.
I cannot wait to hear which poem you would pick to share with us right now, based on that which you just shared with us. I'd love to hear the piece that you selected for today's online book showcase experience. I'd love to hear that now.
Right, so this is my book.
I want you to hold up. I want you to hold up the cover a little bit more powerfully. Put it closer towards the camera so we can possibly see it, because it's being blurred out now. Okay, hold it against your chest as high up under your chin. Right, as high up under your chin as you can. Correct. So we see that in live and living color. We had that in the promo. And what I love about this image, and this is from a picture, right, Karen?
Yes, it is.
Yes. What I love about this picture is that it really invites me, just like the title, right? Punza is the name I was trying to remember, right? What I like about that picture is that it is this picture of this clearly mature woman who, it doesn't matter that she's literally fully clad, sitting down by the beach, by the shores. And that image gives me this feeling that there's a whole story here. And it gives me the feeling of that woman sitting there like, you know what? It's all right to get my whole skirt wet. It's okay to just be here. It's okay to just be and let the waves do what they do. So that's how that cover speaks to me. So yes, guys, that is Karen's book, Mother Waters. So you're about to share with us the piece or two that you chose to share today.
So there's a sense in which I see my collection as a kind of not just commemorating my mother and paying tribute to the waters that wash the shore of my native Jamaica, but also I see my collection as almost a kind of love letter to my island. So if you don't, so I'll read. I chose 3 poems.
We want to hear them all. We want to hear them all.
Well, the first one is called Mother Waters, and I'll read that for you now. Mother Waters, O spirit of the Nile, Mother Waters of time, crystal flowing life force, shared humanity, free flowing, gently caressing, denuding, eroding, congealing, sparkly, muddy, reflecting frothy foaming puffs of blue, emerald, cobalt, azure, teal, and sky. O sacred terracotta mud, jewel tones of journeys ripped from ancestral homelands, in passages of blood, waste, and pain. Rain dance, make teardrops, like scattered people. Oceans, seas, ponds, tanks, rivers, dams, lagoons, and lakes fill up. Gullies roar with captive power, entrapped divinity, naked electricity, magnificence, majesty encircling, reunions in the womb of time. Headwaters break into Caribbean waters, birthing a soulful people. Teardrop diamonds, blood diamonds, multifaceted ivory drops, distilled reggae juice. Gordon House is no threat, or green velvet isle. Waters impossible to corral. A captain's applause, awash an islander soul in nostalgia, thousands of feet above terra firma. Blue waters encircling, and that's Emerald Isle. A second poem that I choose to read is
before you even go into that,
yes,
I want to say to you that I love the weaving, and we're going to hear other comments too. I love the weaving of some very common words we use in Jamaica, along with the standard English. When you talk about the terra firma, when you talk about airy juice, I am absolutely loving the symbolism, and I am loving the imagery. This piece is a piece that we just want to sit and listen to 2 lines at a time, because that whole work offers so much. And I see Andrene over there just cheering you on. It offers so much that it makes me grateful walking on the beaches of St. Elizabeth, down nearby where Jake's is, Treasure Beach, because I've never seen anywhere as more gorgeous in Jamaica as, and I love Portland, for instance, the North Coast, but Treasure Beach, it made me literally feel as if I was at the back door of God's palace. I've never seen anywhere so awesome. So I'm getting all the feels from that piece. And the title of that piece again?
Mother Waters.
That is the title.
As is the title. Yes, as is the
Right.
title of the book. So I
That
thought
is,
I'd read
yes.
that one. Yes.
Listen, you didn't show off and tell us that, man. You for show off and tell me that. You know, because I was just so taken in with the story and the texture. You helped me visit Jamaica just by listening to that piece. I like that.
Thank
How
you.
long did it take you to pen that one alone?
To be honest, I usually start the title.
Okay.
And then I write. My friends tell me that my poems are very free.
But you have good friends. You have some of those good friends that some people need, some creative people need. Now let's go on to the next.
All right. So the next one, this is White House Road, and I don't know if you have traveled along the West Coast. Is that the West Coast? Going west towards Westmoreland?
Yes.
Another area that was devastated by Melissa. At a town called White House. I love that town. And for some reason, when I travel to White House, I feel very erotic. I feel very sexy. So this poem talks about that. It says, my head to the window, I sense the sea. Variegated, graduated depths, purple, deep, emerald, moss, azure, teal, and sky. Oh, salty spray, sting my eyes, caress my face, give aphrodisiac to my loins. Raw energy, engaging and armoring, features of the deep, human defining, squirt streams signaling release. O frothy, foaming universe, enter into her depths, exchange fluids, life force propagated.
I love your lead up to that. When you say, when you travel to this place, it gives you this feel of our sexiness and our sensuality. I love that because that's a part of our identity that we want to look down on. And that part of our identity tends to show up on the dance hall scene or the carnival scene. And in our Jamaican classism, what you may call it, in our class structure, it's not an acceptable or accepted part of our being. And I love the fact that you're able to capture that in your pieces of poetry. We have a tendency in our Jamaican culture to ridicule that which is sexy and sensuous about us, not realizing that that is the hub of our creativity and even our spirituality.
Absolutely. Our
And
spirituality.
yes, we don't seem to want to combine these together, which is why I like the fact that the conflict presents in Sylvia's work, where she talks about what takes place between those two characters on the university campus and what gives men the right to think they own women's bodies, not realizing that we own that space. I think if more
And that
women,
reminds me of a conversation I had
yes,
earlier on this week with a past professor of mine who I'd written a poem and I'd sent it to him, and he said, you know, he liked the poem, and he liked the fact that there's an encouragement for women to use their sexuality as a spiritual and a creative force, you know, and not necessarily something that's just
it's not just,
objectified.
yeah, it's not about sex. It's about your emotions, your femininity, because no matter what, we as women, we own these gifts. They're unique to women. But more on that anon, and hopefully we can touch on that as we wrap up today in our panel discussion coming at the end. And a quick note to you, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, or you're watching us later, please go ahead and hit that like button, like this video, and share this video out, because this is happening nowhere else in the world. You're not meeting these group of women authors anywhere else in the world right now. So go ahead and like that button, hit that share button, and subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. So yes, I do love the way in which you encapsulate all of these energies in your work. Your work causes me to think about so many different things. I'd have to like take a drink and sit down and smoke a cigarette. And I don't even smoke a cigarette. I don't smoke. I hardly drink. But it brings me to this place of just being mesmerized by what already is. What I've heard from your work, it tells me that we don't have to go anywhere else and search for anybody else, anything else in the world. We have it right where we are if we just pause and accept what already is. That's what it does for me. I don't know what it does for other people, but that's what it does for me. And I love that. I love that about that piece. So thank you. And you have another piece that you have prepared
Yes.
to share with
I
us.
will read, this one is entitled Miss St. Elizabeth, and it's child of red dots, of tropical flowers and trade winds, exotic fruits, lips pout, honey skin, zaza grass scratch me behind, hand carts, marbles in a ring, thatch huts immersed in rivers immeasurable depth, cast a net out to sea, parrotfish reflect prisms of the rainbow, banga, snapper, jack, dance on banana string, island whispers, an antidote to not doing my thing. Thelma, auntie, cousin, pick me son, shall talk of my deeds. No town for me. City lights blind. Become somebody, you nobody. Collect names to drop. Eleanor sounds regal enough. Or trod, hearts celestial, like stringy and fine skin pandot.
What is the name of that one?
This one is called Miss St. Elizabeth.
Miss St. Elizabeth. That's what I heard. See, you touched on something that I just said earlier. It's about our social disparities and our social, what is that word? That keeps escaping me. It's similar to classism, where we look down on one group of people based on their color, their social standing, their education, and we look up to another set because of their color, regardless of education sense or even financial holdings. Or so it captures that
Connect
dynamic.
social connections.
Correct. It definitely captures that connection, that ethos. It also captures, I hear the ambition, ambition to grow, to be seen, to expand and extend, and also the choices that we have available to us. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm glad that you've been able to identify why it is that you write, even if after the fact. And I'm glad that you're able to give voice to the answer to that question for within you. Where can we find your book?
This book it's available on Amazon. There are actually two collections. One is called Mother Waters, which is what we're exploring now, and there's another called Sea Songs. Both are available on Amazon.
How long ago did you write Sea Songs and publish it?
I published Sea Songs about 4 months ago.
That's new. So do you have it nearby?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I
that's
have
all
copies,
right.
but not with me here.
All right, I understand. Now, we can find the book on Amazon. We can reach out to your website. Give us the address for your website so we can definitely keep in touch and in league with you.
It's www.motherwaters.com.
All right. So it's as simple as that.
Simple as that.
Motherwaters.com. I like it. I like the simplicity and the straightforwardness. What is
Yes.
it that you teach here in North Carolina?
I teach English language arts.
Uh-huh. Are
So
all
the
teachers
art
here?
form of the language, as we say
Yes.
here.
Yes. I'm loving this. Do you
Yes.
find that there are challenges between persons speaking colloquial language and having to make the transition to English language?
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know how. I probably would not be rated well as a teacher of English because I believe that creativity has very little to do with the way we spell or the way that we pronounce.
I agree with you. I agree with you
Or yes,
100%.
yes.
I
And that
had
is why I found it very interesting when you guys spoke about language and how we say that, you know, the Jamaican language is not a language, because as I have experienced in the classroom in Jamaica, I do experience it here, where our children write a language that they do not speak and they speak a language that they do not write. So the contradiction, it creates such a divide, it creates such a gap that many of our children would stay silent if not
Yes.
for a nurturing, understanding, maybe teacher of English
Yes, a
who
facilitator of
understands. Yes,
learning. Correct.
yes.
I had the same experience when I was teaching on Heart Trust NTA. I was teaching in Portland. People of Portland are talk English. And I had to be teaching our students who are in the hospitality industry, woodworking industry, and they would be prepared to go in the tourist industry. They had to learn English to communicate in the workplace. And that was a module I taught. And one of the first things I did with all of my students is this. I explained to them how perfect Jamaican language is. We say in English, if we're talking about the three dogs over there, in English, we talk about there are three dogs outside. And I would say to them, how you say it in Jamaica? We say the three dog them. Them is the pluralizing factor. When they realize, and I loved it every time for every one of my cohorts, when they realized how real Jamaican language is, they were open now to learning the English equivalent. That empowered them. And that is what we want to do, empower students. So I love the fact that we are all literally on the same page. We
Yes.
love
What I
language.
like about my Jamaican language is that it is so intuitive. If I were to say palm, I mean, hand middle makes more sense to me.
There you go.
Neck back makes more sense to me than nape.
Yes.
So
Nape can be any freaking where.
I hope that I am not vilified for saying this, but
No.
I really do believe that our language is beautiful and it's expressive.
Thanks be to God. I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Karen, we're looking forward to hearing more from you. And we want to see that book cover again. Just hold it up for us so that when we go to Amazon, we know what we're looking for. So we'll hold it right under your chin. Right, right. So that's Mother Waters by Karen Punza Powell. All right. Later on, we find
So
out.
I should tell you why Punza.
Yeah.
Punza is my
Yeah.
pet name. And I got that name as a child. Whenever my mother would give me a bath, and she would take me inside the house because I loved powder, but I couldn't say powder, so I would say Punza.
Yeah.
And everybody knows me as Punza.
Punza. I am
Yes.
loving that. That's where nicknames come from. Again, another
Yeah.
part of our language arts creativity. Thank you so much, Karen, for being here with us on our Why I Write Online book showcase. We are really enriched by your presence, as so many are tuning in to our live stream at this time. We have comments from our audience like Deirdre, who says, happy to join you today. Shelly Foster is here. Thank you, Curtis Myrie, for being here. And Errol, I see you're here. Oh, thank you so very much. Yes, can I hear the headwater broke? I love that. I love that. Powerful, mad, too fluid meat, new life. I know, I got that too. So you're hearing the same things I'm hearing. Yes, indeed. And by the way, Errol Bean, who is tuning in at this time, this is his book. And his book is called, this is a nice thick book. See, he ain't joking. He not joking. Errol Bean, The Thinking Bean. The title Elevated Liberty inspires a deep look inside. And that's what Barbara Blake Hannah says about the book. The reader is going to be compelled to pause, ponder, and appreciate the power of the words and how they can become a real soul stirrer. That's what 𝐌𝐻𝐿 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐻 says about Errol Bean's book. His prose and poetry are imbued with a rhythm. Clyde Paul Mackenzie. So you see, we love our heavy hitters. There's another book you can add to your list. This is from another Jamaican poet, poems by Natalie Cortese. She writes in Jamaican too. And when you hear her pieces, it's like comedy mixed with truth, mixed with liberty, and all that good stuff. Another one that you've got to have in your collection and read. You can have reading parties. Dale Mafood, another writer, he wrote a piece that is a poetic memoir, and this is one that celebrates his mother. Yeah, right? So this poetic memoir is summed up by country, family, nature, God, and aging. It is based on his mom, Dorothy Mafood. It's a delightful poetry collection, right? We also still have from another language artist ourselves, a great Jamaican proponent of the Jamaican language. And this is Joan Andrea Hutchinson, kin, teat, kibahat, bon. And that's basically what we'd be saying to each other in Jamaica right now. Yeah, kin, teat, kibahat, bon. And this book is by Joan Andrea Hutchinson, another great Jamaican cultural icon. Yes, of the order of Louise Bennett. So this is something you've got to get in your arsenal as well. So do not hesitate to grab this as your own. I was talking about Dale earlier. This is Dale's book. And his book is a novel, When Trees Fall, book one of the Wood and Water saga. All right, it's an intriguing coming of age novel exploring the bittersweet tales of three Jamaican families. So we have the history books being captured here right now. And I had to give these a very special mention. On the politics side, and not even politics. Again, this is all Jamaican history. We had the opportunity to speak with Edward Seaga's daughter on Why I Write. She told us the whole backstory of Carrie Nosa, how Carrie Nosa was born, and we have this book giving away too. we have a giveaway for you. If you need a copy of this book, the first one, I'll tell you at the end. We have a copy of this book to give away. It is Edward Seaga's memoir called My Life and Leadership, 1930 to 1980, a 50-year period of Jamaican history, not to be missed. I want to get through just one more book here that we want to share. This book is called An Avalanche of Leaves. This is not a storybook, but this is a wonderful piece by Dr. Elaine Williams Morgan that also came out of her dissertation. And it talks about the usefulness of social media and where we're heading now. So I really wanted to take this opportunity to just give you a snapshot of some of the books that we have available for you to refer to, just in case you missed it before. Let us move on to our next writer, our next author, in the person of Anette Williams. Anette is a business professional of no mean order. And she has a new book out, again, inspired by our Jamaican heritage. And I'm going to let Anette tell you all about this book. Anette, thank you so much for your patience and your time as you've been waiting around for your turn. How are you doing this afternoon, Anette? Good to see you. We're going to let me ask you to unmute so you can come up. Yes.
I am doing well. And if I had a hat on, I would lift my hat to all the women who are on this show today. I mean, I've been so inspired. I don't even deserve to be in the same room with you. And just a correction, Tatlin, you actually got my name wrong. It's Anette 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. You said Williams.
My
That's
mistake. It's Anette 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. My bad. Thank you so very much. But everything else it says Anette 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. So we know it's Anette 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻, not Williams.
Yes.
Welcome. Yes, I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad
Thank
that
you.
you feel poured into right here, right now, today.
I have learned so much in a short time that I've been here. I think I've bought 2 books already, and the others are on my list.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm so glad that you are so moved to, add to your collection, because you know what? That's what I want to do. That's one of the things I want to retire into, just reading. Because it's just such an engaging experience that expands your understanding and gives life to your own life experiences. So that works for me all day, all night. But you do belong here because you have moved into action and now you've produced your own book. So, of course, you do belong here by all means. Let me tell you a little bit about who Anette is. She is a certified professional coach, a transformational leader, and a consultant whose passion for empowerment is deeply grounded in her Jamaican heritage. From a young age, Anette found solace and inspiration in books, just like I did, spending countless hours reading and collecting quotes and poems. Those early literary treasures shaped her lens on life and continue to fuel her love of storytelling, reflection, and writing as a path to personal and collective transformation. As the founder and CEO of Anette R Coaching, she empowers young adults and professionals with the essential life skills, mindset, and clarity to navigate life's pathways and transitions. So here we have her book, and her book is entitled Wisdom from My Mother. I don't know which Jamaican is not inspired by their mothers, right, Anette?
That's correct. That's the first person we learn from, because we start learning from our mothers when we're actually in the womb. So
yes. What are some of the ways, for those who don't know, what are some of the ways that we start learning from our mothers in the womb as early as that?
well, the child in the womb is actually adapting to our temperament the way we are. If you read to your child while they're still in the womb, then they actually become readers also. And I recently learned this, that if you sing, then you are inspiring your children to learn. So I don't know if I can say this here, but I'm about to be a first-time grandmother, and I'm excited about that.
Oh,
So
that's so
I'm
lovely.
actually reading up. Thank you, thank you. I'm actually reading up, so that I can pour into my grandchild the way I wasn't able to pour into my children, because as you get older, you learn and you discover things and you're like, oh, I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that. So I'm sharing some of these insights with my daughter right now.
That's the beautiful thing about having our generations close by, of having our family nearby, of being able to pass on our wisdom. Because we were not meant to do this life alone, without guidance, without the words from people who knew it before. Which is why now notice the similarity. When I was putting together this panel and I saw the similarity from everyone, I was like, I know I didn't do this. I know God did this. I didn't do this. I'm like, me throw my card, me never call no fault. So when I saw the responses being so similar to each other, I was like, okay, this was meant to be. Wisdom from my mother. Where did you grow up, Annette?
Well, I grew up in Kingston. I don't know if you call that West Kingston, but as we would say, Kingston 13. I grew up in Kingston 13, which was bordered by places like Trenchtown and Jonestown and Spanish Town Road, in the middle of a lot of the political upheaval in the 70s. And my solace to get away from the noise of the area was reading, which I was actually introduced to by my stepfather. He somehow was able to pull out a collection of the classics. So I was literally like 6 years old and I'm reading like Huckleberry Finn, Emily Bronte. And so, words became very meaningful to me at an early age because it was my escape. And my household, like most households, was dysfunctional. So you had to find a way of escaping. So I would go under the bed. I think I heard someone said that they'd be like under the bed or under the table reading. That's how I found my escape. And developed a very photographical style of reading where I can actually imagine myself in the middle of the book, inside the story. And so that's how I read. I say I read in color. And now that I'm getting older, I'm kind of experiencing some of the things that I read. And I'd be like, oh, I read about this place in this book. And at an early age also, I started collecting things like the books that I read were, except for the ones that my stepfather would pull out of his grip and give me on special occasions, were either borrowed from the library or from a friend. So in order for me to save and retain the information, I had to write it down. So favorite quotes, poems, etc. I would just write them down because I'd have to return the book. And I don't like writing in books either. So even if they're my own books, I would write them down because that was the days before computers and smartphones with, the notes app and stuff like that. And I want to share something. So when I was about, I said that I collected poems and verses and stuff like this. And this binder is a collection of poems that I started collecting at a really young age, like before age 10. Wow. And when I was in 11th or 12th grade, I started practicing my typing by typing them. So this is typewritten. It is so old, I have lost the cover. This is over 40 years old. So
you have proof, girl.
Yes.
You have proof. Wow. You have proof. I pretty much did something similar. And you know, when you're living in the moment, you don't know. When you're living in the moment, you don't know where all of this is going to lead. You just know that you like doing these things. And what I'm hearing from every one of you here right now is that it started somewhere as a small P, just a small P. And I like the fact that you explained that your environment was so unsettling and your environment was busy and noisy in the midst of all the political hubbub and infighting, just like we've heard other writers say here, where you have had to come to a quiet place outside of the madness around you. You've got to find that center within you. Karen mentioned about finding loneliness and peace. Novlette mentioned about, you know, having to settle in away from the noise about. Andrene said the same thing. So the common theme in our conversation is that coming to the center of yourself, finding your center is so important to people like us, to creators, writers. I don't know what scientists do. I'm not in that space. I don't know what other people do who don't write or who don't read. I don't know how they find their solace. I don't. But definitely for creators such as ourselves, it is so important, primary to what we do. How did you manage to maintain that book so well? That's my question. With all the moves and everything, because so many people have lost so much of their work. How did you manage to keep it so good?
I kept this in a file cabinet for years, and then one of my eldest daughter found it first, and she was intrigued by it. My younger daughter found it later and decided that she was going to keep this. This was hers. And so last night when I was looking for it, I actually could not find it. And I asked her, and she's like, well, did you look in this place or that place? And it was actually tucked between some books on my, I don't have a bookshelf. I have a book closet. It's an entire closet full of books because it's a wide collection.
Thank you so much for that answer. I've been wondering what to do with all. Thank you. A book closet. Tips.
And I was able to find it in there last night. I was so excited. And then I realized that it had a label on it, and the label, it's so old that the label has fallen off. I have no idea what it was called back then. And interestedly, the table of contents is handwritten. So it's been that long. The table of contents is actually handwritten.
Wow.
And here's another poem that just never made it because it's still handwritten.
Wow. So that means what you're showing us, Annette, that you have all of those poems now to go and produce.
Yeah.
See, you didn't even know that you had that treasure with you. But here you are with Wisdom from My Mother. How did that book start for you, and how did it progress?
Again, I am just a collector of words. And I lost my mother 30 years ago, but her voice lives on in my head. It's like she's with me every day. And at a moment when I think I was at a low, I can hear her voice telling me things like, you know, like, dry your eyes because what happened today is not gonna help you. It's no use crying over spilled milk, for instance, or you can't live to tomorrow's life today. And these words would just like go over and over in my head. I don't know if you have, I mean, we all do, where we have something that's just stuck in our head. And the way to get things out of my head is to put it on paper. So one or two of these sayings from my mother I would write them in my notes while I'm traveling on the train to and from work. And the list just started growing. The list started growing. And on a recent girls trip, the original title, because I did title it so that I could find it, was Things My Mother said, taught me. Things My Mother Taught Me was the original name. And I was on a girls trip and we were talking and someone said one of these sayings or proverbs that we use. And I've heard several of them here tonight and I would smile each time. Like someone said, I'm sorry, I wrote it down just so that I would remember. Don't forget where you come from is one of them. Sorry. Some of the things that she would say is like, if you want, goes your nose off around one cocoa full basket. You can't use today's this day can't hold the next. That's the one I was looking for. This day can't hold the next. So you can't carry yesterday's burdens today or tomorrow's things today. That's what, if you're thinking about yesterday, then that's what causes depression. And if you're thinking tomorrow, then that's going to cause stress. You just have to live for today with all the things that you have to do today. And so I would just write these things down. And then I was on a girls trip and one of the girls said something and I go, oh, you know, I collect those. I don't have that one. Let me put it in. And long road trip, they said, you know, what are some of the others? So I started reading them and they added to the list. They're like, oh, there's this one my mother used to say, that one my mother used to say, and I added to the list. And one of my really good friends, she is my accountability partner, and she uses that like it's a job description. That's how much she holds me accountable for everything. And she says, you've been collecting these. What are you going to do with it? And I had no idea because one of my daughters was born in Jamaica, so she has an experience of the Jamaican lifestyle. The other was born in America and knows nothing. So I just thought that I was collecting these. I tell them, if anything happens to me, read the notes in my phone and read the Word documents on my computer because I feel it has just so much value that they would benefit from. Yes. And so I was just collecting it for them. But on the trip, someone said, oh, you should write a book, which I tucked that away in the back of my head. There's no way. But earlier this year, I was hospitalized and I'm laying in the bed for days, hours, and with nothing to do. I wasn't interested in watching TV or anything like that. And I'm just flipping through my phone and I came across it and I'm like, let me see what I can do. And I started just jotting stuff down. And that's how that became. It might be a little rushed. It's about version 7 of what I started with, but I have a birthday coming up, which is tomorrow, and I was trying. Thank you. I was aiming for a birthday delivery because it's a big birthday, and earlier this year I was stressed about turning this age. What does that mean? What do I want for the next portion of my life? And this is I don't want to call it a self-proclamation. I don't want to own it, but I have a way of starting things and not finishing them. And I wanted to finish something, and I wanted to finish something before my 60th birthday. Oops, I said the number, sorry. But that's the way this book was born, and I'm hoping that, you know, people will find value in it.
I think we already do because one, you already have lived to the vintage age of 60. Welcome to our 60s. It's a beautiful time of realizing you can actually go to the store. I saw this post somewhere, so I'm not original with this. You can go to the store, buy yourself a whole birthday cake for no reason. even when it's not your birthday, and eat as much of it as you want. You probably won't ever do that again in your life, but do it at least once. So we want to say congratulations to you. Thank you for gracing us. This is a
Thank you.
beautiful way to start off your celebration talking about your book, and you do belong here. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes us the time of recovery from an unexpected illness, which again in itself brings stillness for us to create. So unfortunately, sometimes these opportunities are exactly just that, opportunities. And I like how you got to collect from everybody around you during that girls' trip what used to be said. So in a way, it's not only your contribution, it is a collective contribution of words of wisdom from what my mother
Absolutely.
told it. I'm loving this. I am so loving this. What is your favorite piece from your book?
So one of the things that I notice in society now, and as Jamaicans, you can kind of relate to this. You walk into a room, and our habit is you walk into a room, you know no one in the room, but you're going to say good morning,
Yeah.
and you're hit with silence.
Yes.
And so one of my favorite ones is Howdy and Tenky broke no square.
Mm-hmm.
Saying please, thank you, good morning actually opens doors as
Oh, yeah.
opposed to, you walk in and you say nothing. If you go in and you say good morning and you're pleasant and you say thank you when someone does sometimes nothing, but you say thank you and you say please, someone will remember that because I think Maya Angelou made it the saying famous that it's not what you do, it's how you make people feel.
Yeah.
And if you're pleasant and you go in and you say good morning, then you already are kind of opening doors. And someone somewhere will remember that day when this woman walked into the room and everyone was quiet and one person said good morning and changed the day for
Oh,
someone in that room. And so that's kind of one of my favorite ones. Another one that I use a lot, and this is actually from my fifth grade teacher, Miss Mills from Whitfield All Age School. There was an incident with a girl who we were passing notes in class, and Miss Mills asked the girl a question, and I don't want to call names, but she said she can't see the board. And Miss Mills said, I can't see, or a nasi, a nasi.
mm-hmm.
I love to use that one, especially when I have my little grandniece and grandnephews and they come over and I say, pass me the remote. And they go, I can't find it. And I would say, I use it with my husband too sometimes. I'm like, I can't see, or a nasi, a nasi.
Nazi.
So that's one that I really like.
I
But
love that. Mm-hmm.
what I find out as I started writing these is that as a coach, that a lot of these um, scoldings, because most of the times our parents use this, they're scolding us about something, has
Mm-hmm.
so much wisdom in them that it actually relates to life as it is now. And in my coaching business, one of the things that I teach as a life skill is financial literacy.
Mm.
And who would have thought a simple quote as one cocoa full basket has a lot to do with financial literacy. It has to do with goal setting. And I find that a lot of these are just so relatable now. With one cocoa full basket, I mean, you're just doing things one step at a
Step at
time,
a
baby
time.
steps, baby
Yes.
steps. $1 saved every day of the week or every week of the year, it adds up. When you have a goal that you're working towards, you just need to take the first step because we set these massive goals for ourselves, like writing a book. That's
Right.
a big goal. And to say, well, I'm going to write a book, you kind of have to break it down into steps. Like for me, it was collecting quotes and then one day saying, okay, I'm going to write a book. What's the next step? and then the
Yes.
next step. Because if you are trying to climb a ladder and you start from the first rung to the third rung or the fifth rung, it's hard and you're going to give up, right? So just one step at a time. And that's basically what 𝐌𝐢 𝐌𝐴 Full Basket is about.
That's how our foreparents survive.
Yeah.
One cocoa. You know, every mickle make a muckle.
Every mickle make a muckle. That's
Yes.
also financial literacy related.
Oh,
Or
yes.
goal setting related, because as you add just one small thing, I mean, there's an analogy that says if you set if there's a pipe dripping and you set a bucket and one drip each time, eventually that bucket's going to be full, right?
That's for sure. How is it laid out in your book, these sayings? Is it one page at a time? Is it one thing, one page? How did you collect? Because your writing style would be different from someone writing a whole set of poems or writing a novel.
So the sayings and the proverbs that I collected were just random, and I had no idea what to do with it. And so when I started writing, I wasn't sure. I was all over the place. And so, yes, I used AI to organize them. And so the book is actually in chapters, and the chapters are laid out in such a way that they relate. So there is a chapter that talks about gratitude and grounding. How do you think you don't broke no square? Talks about gratitude. Grace before greatness. It's humility. It talks about humility, because a lot of times we tend to brag and boast about ourselves. But if you're humble and let someone else, talk about you, then the effect of it is more meaningful. Like, 𝐼𝐢𝐿𝐼𝐻 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼. You're bragging about your life and all the things that you have accomplished, when in real life you really have not accomplished as much, because you may have done the work, but you have not shared it. Or you think that you're great, but someone else is saying, well, not so great.
Yes.
Whereas humility would be more meaningful when someone comes to you and say, well, that's great writing. Like all the authors here now sharing their work, and yes, they're proud of what they do, and I really can congratulate you on that. But you're also getting the confirmation from others that's saying, yes, this is great. And then that's when you can start saying, well, I'm good. Like, I don't know if I consider myself an author yet. I'm aspiring author, I still think, because I haven't done a lot of the work that you folks have done. Another chapter is, I'm sorry, I just lost my table of content.
You're fine. We're all writers and aspiring to the next level of what we need to share. Sometimes for me, my challenge is being listless. Lately, I've been very listless. It feels like I'm not focused. It feels like I'm not sure. It feels like, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? But then I begin to realize it's because there are so many things I'd like to do next. And I don't know which one suits me. I don't know. I have to also honor the seasons of my life. I have to honor the natural seasons, because now I feel very, very chilled, very cold, because and I don't want to admit that it's because it's fall. I don't want to admit that, because I'm warm-blooded and everything. But I have to stop and pay attention to what's going on with my body to understand, okay, what's happening with me? What can I take on? What can I manage? So it's all right. We're all learning something and aspiring to something here. I know I certainly am. So you found the page? Yes.
Yes. So the other chapters are about wisdom and proverbs. And this talks about the proverbs that I write about and the wisdom that you can attain from some of them, because my discovery that these are actually things that I learned. I mean, I've been in the US now since almost 40 years. And these things from early childhood are still sticking, and they're coming back, and they're the things that I teach my own children. Fate, effort, and consequences is very important. There's everything that you do has a consequence, whether it's going to be something good or something bad. Character, connections, and clarity talks about networking. Prudence and patience. Patience is very important. And one of the quote is, what's this? Patient donkey carry horse bongo go upon. I think that's the one. Because if you are patient, then things will come to you. But in this day and age, we're just so rushed. We're quick to get things done, or, community and survival is another chapter in the book. And so the quotes, the sayings, the proverbs are all just kind of grouped. And it's not a biography. What I have found as I was doing research in some of these also is that what I found were books that has the proverb or the saying and the translation into English, what it means, as opposed to giving you a direct example of how it is used. And that's what this book does. It takes them the way my mother instilled them into me, the scenarios that would make her say the things that she said. And of course, I give a glossary so people can understand the Jamaican terminology.
But that's excellent, because, I'm here thinking, as we've been touching a bit on language during our discourse here, we've been touching quite a bit on language, is how important it was for us to have those sayings. And that's very Afrocentric with us. Yes, English speaking people, European people have their sayings as well. But we do have these sayings that nobody even explained anything to us. But even as children, we got it. That's why I have also a list of 50 proverbs in my book, Jamaica 101. Because I believe that to have the ability to express in our own language, in our own imagery, that's what makes sense to us. That's what makes us function. I love to tell the story about having a group, as I mentioned earlier, teaching a group of heart students. And I was teaching them the way I was learning. Wrong. I was so wrong. How did I find out I was wrong? Because I came in one day and said I was going to give a test. And one young lady gave out, me know what she said she come give a text for. All she do when she come in her class, she just like give a paper. She not teach me nothing. I paused and I looked at her and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Why didn't you say that to me? But in her opposition to my announcement of a test, she told me that, look, we don't learn like how you learn. We don't, and that's how we learn. And there I was in my own ignorance, teaching them the way I was taught and the way I learned. So yes, being able to function in the emotion of a language, being able to deal with issues, not only the emotion of the language, but the context of a language really helps keep you grounded. And I think that that's what so many people are fighting with, just staying grounded in the shifting sands of life and times. So I'm glad that you have captured these in the way you did. And I especially love that you group them together under a sentiment so people can respond to them in that way. Annette, where can we find your book?
It's on Amazon. I am working on getting it and to other resources.
Yes. So we want you to hold up that book again so we see what we're looking for from Anette White. And she says, Anette Rose White, Wisdom from a Modern Jamaican Proverbs and Life Lessons, now available on Amazon.
Can I share a fun fact?
Of course, please.
So there is a picture in the book.
Yes.
The book is dedicated to my mother, of course, because that's where all my wisdom and my clarity comes from. And under the dedication, I don't know if you can see it, there's a picture.
Oh, wow.
It's actually a picture of my mother, my sister, and I.
Oh, wow. I'm loving this. You see, that's how we capture our history. When we write not only for our audience, but ourselves. As mentioned before, right here in this discussion, we write to capture history, to capture a time. And my goodness, what a capture that is as well. Congratulations so much.
Thank you.
We look forward to having more work from you, especially with that green binder you have. Your work is already cut out for you. And I'm glad that you took the step forward to make it happen. My goodness, this has been such an enriching experience for all of us. And I'm so tickled that we have had Anette, Novlette, Karen, Andrene, and Sylvia here with us today on this online book showcase. And we tried to sneak in some more. And we're going to go into a quick 10 minutes at most discussion, panel discussion with all our writers as we wrap today. We want to thank you all so much for being with us. Don't run away. I need to share with you this copy of 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 is here for you as we I think I lost my screen for a minute. Right. Oh, what we did is we recognize living in the United States that so many folks, upon meeting me and knowing that I'm from Jamaica, they're like, oh, I've been to Jamaica. Sometimes they don't know where they go. So what I found useful was being able to, I said, okay, let me help by creating a Jamaica travel journal called 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. Of course, in our Jamaican language, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. And in this book, we have here the pages that can be filled out. There are acknowledgments, a little picture of myself, not a little, yeah, a little picture of myself in one of my moods. And it's interesting that Karen spoke about where she felt sexy and sensuous. That's how my Jamaica makes me feel a lot of times. This picture kind of represents that for me. And I've used my book on visits to Jamaica. 𝐴𝐵𝐼𝐻, meaning that I own it. I can write my own name. I made a note of when I arrived, what aircraft I took, because I do travel a bit. I don't remember what I took, where, when, how. 𝐌𝐢 Jamaica. We write down the temperature it was when we got to Jamaica. The travel reason for going to Jamaica. In this book, I have a list of what you must try when you are in Jamaica. We have the Jamaican patties, ackee and saltfish, soursop drink, saltfish fritters, and the list goes on right here in this 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 Jamaica journal. We have pages where you're able to write your stories. And I used my book on my travel to Jamaica because it helps me capture some of the things I experienced. Yes, I do have pictures, but now I also have a literary account. And yes, Annette, also in this book, I have Jamaican proverbs. It has beautiful pictures of Jamaica. This one says, "Me day up and drink milk, no fi count cow," meaning I'm here for the benefits and to mind my own business. I don't know if you have that in your book as well, Annette. Yes, indeed. Then
It sure is.
see there, I knew it was. There, 𝐌𝐢 𝐼𝐻 So we have Jamaican pictures and images in our 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 book. It's a great travel journal, but it also gives the company, a feel of the culture. Another Jamaican proverbs there. So the book is littered with Jamaican proverbs. Also in this book, along with Jamaican pictures. We also have fun facts about Jamaica. And I put my recipes in here as to how, for instance, I make ackee and saltfish. I put jerk Jamaican recipes there. Jamaican jerk recipes, jerk chicken, curry chicken recipes. Curry chicken is a great staple. My mother offered me curry chicken last night for dinner. Stewed oxtail. They meet you, they want to know if you can cook oxtail. Rice and peas is in this book, another staple of the Jamaican cuisine, and more journaling areas. Again, learn Jamaican words. Yasso, right here. We're talking about language again. Galang, go along. Another one I put in there is a colloquial, whoa, my belly, which is laugh out loud in Jamaican. Okay, we're going to do road. It means to go on the road and do errands or travel somewhere. Masifada, that's the equivalent of our OMG. Deso, over there. So this is what is contained in another book of Jamaican culture. And this is my copy. It's also available in hard copy, available on Amazon as well. So tonight, before we wrap, we just want to bring everybody back into our room. So let's get our gallery view and welcome everyone on our screens at this time. Where is my on-screen welcome?
Did you take back the share?
I took back the share. Let's see.
Okay, good.
Yes, I took back the share. So we want everybody to be on screen at the same time. And I don't see where my thing is showing me. But everybody, please come together and let us hear your feels of what we have shared today. Who would like to go first? Andrene.
Well, first of all, again, thanks. I mean, this is a gift. All these brilliant women. This is just a chalice of wonderful, wonderful blessing. It's like a prayer. Like a prayer. To hear, I'm getting a little emotional because it is just such a spiritual space. We might be in cyberspace, but the ancestors came. They came in all of your faces and all of your words and the joy in your spirit. And I just met so many people who came along with all of you. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I liked how we all talked about womanhood and mother and grandmother. And we sometimes try to put our elders out away from us in this culture. But I like how you all brought them here with you today, and I feel honored to be in their presence as well. Thank you so much for just capturing nature, reminding us that in the concrete jungle, there are some lilies and orchids growing, through those walls. And I thank you all for just giving me that opportunity to be here with you. I'm really, really blessed in my soul. This was church for me today.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much, Andrene. I'm so glad that you're here and you started off the conversation about language and, organizing ourselves and reaching out to others to support us in our work, getting sponsors and all of that wonderful effect. I love what you poured into our online showcase today.
And the whole idea of translanguaging. I think how you all embraced it. just communicating across our own language and the
Mhm.
beauty of it, the structure of it. It's just, and in other words, there are just so many things that we can say in standard English, but there is just even more that we get to enjoy coming from our own language. And so
Without a
I'm
shadow
really
of a
glad
doubt.
that you embrace it because that's what I do. I went to Albany, in New York to advocate for our
Mhm.
language. You know,
Mhm.
I almost lost my job in New York City because I was reported to the superintendent of curriculum and instruction that I'm teaching patois in the class when all the picnic them into my class come from Jamaica. And like someone shared earlier, that them have to read the English, but them not understand it. I don't want to bastardize what you said earlier. Just if you can write it in the chat, I'd love to have it because it's a beautiful thing you said. Because a lot of our children came, and I mean, like in my classroom, it was like the United Nations. But at
Right.
the same time, I had so many of our Jamaican children, our Caribbean children, and they spoke their language. They were intelligent. They were
Mhm.
brilliant. But it looked like it's only me one understands. So them did bright and then bring something
There you
to the
go.
class. Everybody, because they didn't bring standard English, tabula rasa. We gotta write something on there. We gotta, we
Yeah.
gotta, we gotta put something in that brain. And they were so articulate, and I understood it. And so I'm really, really appreciating the fact that we are
Yes.
documenting.
Yes.
And we're
Yes.
leaving it for our generations to come. And it will not be erased. Thank you again. Thank you again. That's all I can say, Tatlin. I'm just full of gratitude. That's all I can say.
Indeed.
I'm full of
Of
gratitude.
gratitude. Thank you.
Cody and Tenke?
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Thank
Brocknell
you.
Square. Novlet. Novlet
Yes,
was sharing with me how she found out about why I write. And it was through a relative of mine. Look at that.
yes.
Novlet, what are your feels from being here today as we discuss language, identity, femininity, artistry, culture?
First of all, I must say thank you so much for having me at this table. This table filled with intelligent, diverse, unique women. I thank you so much for having me. I've learned so much. As Annette, I think, said earlier, as she keeps saying she does not belong here. That I was saying that in my head initially, but as you say, yes, you do belong here. But I am so honored, and as a new author, um, I've learned so much today, and I'm thankful that I took the opportunity,
Yeah.
Totlin, to reached out and actually become a part of this
I'm
because,
so
as yes, as Adrienne just said, this is like church. This is like food to the soul right here.
yeah.
And I've learned so much. I know there's a lot more to learn. This is a process. All of us writing. Every day is another day. Every day you learn something new. Every day you see where you can add something to make it better. But I'm just glad that, whatever we're thinking, we're inking it. What we think we ink, making it
So
into
much saying.
books and inspiring others. So I'm just grateful and thankful, and I hope this is not my last
Definitely not.
gathering with you, ladies. I really do appreciate you guys.
Awesome. And we all gonna keep in touch and share each other's emails and follow us on social media wherever we are. Follow our websites wherever we
Mhm.
are. Let us talk about each other. Let us
Yes,
promote each other. Let us
yes.
share about each other
Mhm.
consistently. Sometimes we don't remember to reach out to share.
Mhm.
And I too am and so enriched by this meeting of the minds here today. Thank you so much, Novlet. Sylvia.
Thank you.
Um, well, before I'm very forgetful. So let me say this before I forget, Tatlin. Thank you for your generosity of spirit, for the freedom with which you make room for other people to shine. Thank you. And may the Lord bless you always.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. And I would also like to use your platform to express my concern for Jamaica at this time, for what our people are going through. And I'd just like Jamaica to know that Jamaica is in my heart and in my thoughts and in my prayers.
Yes.
I'd also like to invite you all to follow me on Facebook. My author's page is Sylvia Dennis Gilfillian. Dennis is the name my father gave me, and Dennis is and Gilfillian is the name my husband gave me. I won't tell you the name I've given myself. That's for another discussion.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. And I'm so excited to hear people talking about the Proverbs. I have a page on Facebook called the Jamaican Proverb a Day. I have several thousand followers, actually. I was shocked to discover followers from all over the world. So feel free to follow my page, a Jamaican Proverb a Day.
Please send me that link too, Sylvia.
Yes, I will.
Please send me that link because I've not been, I haven't visited or known about that page. I think we did speak about it, but I haven't visited, but do share.
I
So
will.
you can also share
I
with each
absolutely
other.
will.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would like to say it's such a pleasure to meet every one of us, every one of you who participated in this forum. And I like the variety of voices. It's very encouraging.
Yes.
And it was a joy to be here. It was good company.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you all so much. God bless you all.
So much that we draw a long bench, going over the time that I thought we would have spent.
Listen,
here.
there's a saying, Tory day but me need jackass ears and long bench.
I love it. That is the sweetness. We probably should have a cultural gathering online for why I write. So we're gonna have to look into that. And for you, Annette.
Again, I also want to thank you, Tatlin. Thank you for this opportunity. When I reached out to you, I was not expecting this. I was expecting you to actually just take my book and stick it in a corner, but you reached out and you opened up your platform to me, and I really, really appreciate it. Spending time with these women, it's spiritual, as someone said earlier. It's been really meaningful, and I felt like you all have poured so much into me, and I have learned so much from you. And it would behoove me not to keep in touch and see how you're all doing. And like I said, I've already bought some of the book, and Andrene,
thank you.
Don't be surprised. I might be reaching out. But this is really wonderful, and I wish you all the very best, and that life has to offer, and that you will continue to pour into others, because it's important. And that's one of the reasons why I started jotting stuff down, especially in Patois, because my younger daughter, and she's not that young, she's been to Jamaica. Her first trip to Jamaica, I think she was like 6 months old, but just recently said that I never taught her the language. And I'm trying to remedy that now.
Yes.
But, maybe not with her, maybe with my grandchild. I'll be able to kind of keep that going. And it's important. And it's not just about our culture, it's about every culture. And so wisdom from a mother is not just my mother, it's your mother, it's our mother, it's everyone's mother, because she's the one who pours into us and gives us life and the way to live it. So thank you.
I thank you again, each and every one of you. It's been quite a long afternoon. I can't believe the time has run away so quickly. I want to say a very special thanks to everyone that Renee says she loves the idea. I want to say hi to Renee Julian, one of my fellow cohort members from our master's program. So good to
Oh,
see you, Angela. Angela, I have your book right here to talk about.
Totlin, I'm sorry, can I interrupt?
Go ahead.
Renee's my cousin.
For real, for real?
Yeah,
What?
it's interesting.
What?
Hi, Renee.
So good to see you, Renee. Oh my God. Wonderful, Renee. So, this book is called Droplets of Water and Shafts of Sunlight. Another person who is similar to Andrene, who really helped authors get their work out. So, I mean, we have a whole community of us here. Thank you so much, Angela, for sharing. Thank you so much, Sharon, for joining us. Elena went so good that you are here with us. And Laylee, thank you so much for being here. Errol Bean, thank you for being here as well. Reading too has always been my solace. Maybe that's why I can't get out of the reading business, the book business, the sharing business. Um, you know what? Deidre, thank you so much for being here too. This is not the last you'll see of us. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing with us here on Why I Write Online Book Showcase. Thank you, Andrene. Thank you, Novlette. Thank you, Karen. I guess Karen had to leave too. Annette, thank you so much for sharing with us. Sylvia, share this YouTube video out so that people can come into the fold and even learn more about what's in store for us as writers, as authors, as Jamaicans from the soil. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Walk good. Take it easy. Love no. Till
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you.
Let's stay in touch,
Bye,
please.
everyone.
Yes, let's
Happy
do.
birthday again. Happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
Annette.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Happy birthday, Anna.
Congrats.
Oh, thank you all so much.